Just to begin with, we are, I myself and Samarth, I think Mary, three of us here, we are representing Novo Nordisk and we're part of the digital transformation and innovation team, right? And then we have been, hearing a lot about AI. I think it's all in there, but there's also this factor on how much of a human is still needed when there is AI. I think I'm just curious to hear that out from some of the leaders because I think they are the decision makers in an organization, and then in terms of bringing in a new technology at the same time ensuring that the uh, employees who are already there, they see a value in driving their activities with this technology and not more like something that would replace them, right? It's more about bringing in efficiency in their existing as is process. I'm just curious to hear from the leaders today. Yeah.
Um, as a leader and a speaker today, how do you think it is going to impact the business, upcoming business and leaderships? How is AI going to impact?
I think this is one of the questions in panel round also, but at the same time, I think it's going to change the way we look at things. So while I was talking to many people who are other in AI and who are talking about the core technology, I think two languages that we need to be very sure of is human empathy and AI. If we don't understand AI capability plus the human colleague with them, then we'll lose the track.
So, 5 years from now, where do you think AI is going to take us?
So, if you look at how AI has been transiting, so it's very important to see, like, not only 5 years, it starts from the day now, right? Like, how it is, we have to start inculcating, like, what AI is basically letting us do on a day to day basis. It's not understanding, like, we should actually explore of what AI can leverage, in terms of making us feel free or making us things do better on our day to day activities. So we need to try to be as much as human, even if it is 5 years, 10 years, trying to understand what AI can do along with us, not leaving it. So that's what I feel that, AI journey will be along with what human is. So, yeah.
So, I'll just continue this question. Uh, with every day, like AI is coming up with every something new every other day.
Yeah.
How do you keep yourself up, or how? I mean, it's quite overwhelming. So, how?
Yeah, that's actually an interesting question, right? So whenever we talk about not only AI, anything, so as leaders, what we need to focus that, we should focus on continuous learning and unlearn what has already been there, the old ways. So learning is a key thing. We as leaders plus our team should focus on learning so that whatever comes, it be it AI, be it anything else, if you start learning in the direction, whomsoever works with us also start following the same thing. So leader has the tone and we should be curious enough in order to open for learning. So that's what I feel, that learning is the key. And we should learn without ego. That's what I feel.
Maybe same question for you. So, how,
Sorry, what was the question?
yeah, how like every day there's something new coming up with AI.
Right.
So it's quite overwhelming. So how do you keep yourself up, and how should everyone else in this room keep the learning going on?
See, I'm more bothered about the people side of it. Okay. So people should adapt. There will be a point where, job getting work done in a very smaller time, right? Job is like a purpose for everyone. So if man starts feeling that my life is without purpose, right, it's an emotional hit. So we all should be prepared to take, no, not to take the emotional hit, in fact, but get aligned, adapt AI, AA first. Right? That's what we all should be inclined towards.
So, being a part of this circle, how do you feel these AI summits are, and what are we learning from them, and what would be the key takeaways that each one of us should be having today from the summit? What are you
So,
looking forward to? Yeah.
this is probably my third AI summit this year. And what I've realized is it relates to your previous question that I believe Arjun was answering, right? The key is not to get overwhelmed. These summits give you an overview of what's happening around and to focus on things that actually matter. Because every time you open LinkedIn, some or the other person is giving you some gyan, which is like, oh my God, people know so much and I don't know all this, right? So it gets overwhelming. These summits give you perspective that what's the industry you're in, what should be your takeaway, not to grab everything out of everywhere, for instance, I'm in medtech. So when I go to these summits, I focus at what's happening around the medtech, what is happening around ethics, sustainability. So these are the key things that I think anyone should focus on when going to these summits. And AI is here. It's not coming, is here. It's about how we can be there and learn instead of worrying, oh, AI is here, what should I do now? So upskill, and these summits provide a very good pathway to that. That's how I feel.
So if you have your leaders or when you are talking to people, how do you convince them that it is AI is not something that's replacing work, their work, but it is going to be a helping hand in fact. So
Right.
there's a lot of fear around this.
Absolutely. And I would be like pretty much lying if I would say I didn't feel it that way at some point. And when you go to these summits, then you realize that that's not the case. Again, exposure means a lot here. So I'm also a people leader. What I feel is that, and I picked up this line again from LinkedIn, that AI will not replace you. People who know how to use AI will. So what I've started telling my team that learn and learn at your own pace. AI is at a different pace. It's not like you will learn in 5 years, but then you pace it out based on what you understand. If you keep jumping today AI and tomorrow quantum computing, you'll be nowhere, neither here nor there. Quantum computing is also coming, but you pace it out. So what I tell my team is, you're here, you have to learn, pick up on few things and start small. Like integrating something as basic as a co-pilot in your day-to-day work can enhance how you are working. And integrating Copilot with GitHub can enhance your coding. Now, vibe coding is something everybody is talking about, right? So know what that is. So every week with my team, I've started having these connects that who discovered what that is new. And then we discuss that what is relevant to us, what can be actually picked up versus what is just, air around AI. So that ways we center ourselves every week. The fear remains because we do know that some or the other way it will impact. If something needed 10 people or 15 people to develop a module for development coding, tomorrow it won't. That's a fact. We can't change it. The idea is what are the other roles that will probably come and who can upskill. And not everybody will get there. Some will not. But the idea is to have that clarity. That helps. Thank you.
This, a lot of young professionals are here today. So, what do you would suggest us or advise us? Like, what should be the key takeaways? What should be our learning path from now? How do we kind of mold our paths from now, from the journey that is going on?
Okay, so I remember an anecdote. I guess I have shared it with some of you already, at least with whom I have interacted with. That right now is the phase when we can be elephant, big ears, and then a small mouth. So listening more as what is happening around. And when I say listening, it's also about reading on different forums, trying to interact with business leaders, trying to interact with ecosystem as what is happening around. So listening more and talking less, trying to digest whatever we are listening. That would be my suggestion.
I'm Vaishnavi and I am from Ericsson. I am going to work with Nitesh's team very soon. So my question for you would be, all companies are very open to adapt to AI. So, I mean, now, yes, everyone should be, but not everyone is really open to use it. There's a lot of problem with confidentiality of data and so how do we convince people that you can still keep data confidential, overcome this? So there's a lot of fear around AI being vulnerable. So how do we overcome this?
I'm Somesh Agarwal. I am working for O9 Solutions and I am Senior Director SecOps. So cybersecurity is my field and you asked a very valid question to me and to the right person. Okay. So think about like AI, many people, many companies are very comprehensive to adopt AI. Even in my company as well, we are using AI is an integral part nowadays, right? You cannot ignore. And just to before I give answer, let me take you back in time. Like whenever the technology is always evolving, right? Just think 30 years back when internet era was just coming up, like people started fearing up. I remember in 1989 when we were using the manual exchange where people were just connecting to that manual. When you make a trunk call, they used to do the connect the calls, right? At that time, automated exchange started coming, and people started fearing, okay, what's going to happen? What's going to happen to jobs and all those? At that time, the market was around Um, I don't think so. It was more than 10 million. But after automatic exchange, and now we are seeing the use of mobile and how big the market is. The job may have gone that time, but the overall job has been created so many, right? This is billion dollar industry now, okay, telecommunication. Similarly, if you see the computer era, right, initially when it was coming, everyone started fearing. When Google came into play, right, Google or search engines and internet and all these things, people started fearing. Similarly, today it is there, AI, it's just evolving technology, and tomorrow, like someone talk about the quantum computing and all those are coming. So technology will keep on coming and we need to adapt it, and this will improve our productivity, number one. So it's integral part. To answer your question, how secure it is, how vulnerable it is, what all the things like confidentiality. So how many of you are using WhatsApp and on office laptop? Similarly, so those things are very much controllable. AI is just improve your productivity and how you leverage that particular technology to improve and provide the solution to the world. That's what you need to think, not thinking AI is just a tool and I must use it. What are use cases you want to solve? Every industry, every organization, every company is solving one problem, and how can AI help them to solve that particular problem? Security is always there and there are ways to control it. Anyone want guidance, what all the control compliances, I am here, I can help, but definitely those are controllable things. Okay.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. I know it's a lunch, after lunch. Hope you are all set for the day. I would like to welcome all of you, the distinguished speakers, esteemed panelists, respected partners, and the passionate participants on behalf of Bangalore Leadership Circle for this AI Summit, where leadership is reimagined. I am Mary Joseph. I'm an IT validation specialist from GBS, Novo Nordisk GBS Bangalore, and I will be the MC for today. And I would like to welcome all and thank all the partners, especially Bahuan Cybertech, Arinema, and VoiceCube. Without your unwavering support and commitment, this wouldn't be possible. And today we will be looking into a beautiful Bangalore, the core beating heart of India's technology solution, with all the different visionaries, researchers, industry leaders, and AI enthusiasts from all walks of life. And thank you to everyone joining us here in person in this afternoon session at this beautiful location at Keys Select Hotel. Before we begin, may I request all seated? And if anybody has missed out to register, please do register. I think registration count is outside, and if somebody needs to register, let us know. Please keep your phones on silent mode so that the speakers are not disturbed. Today's theme, Leadership Reimagined with AI, sets the stage for groundbreaking conversations and actionable insights. So we'll be not just listening, as Nitish said, we'll be looking into more of actionable insights. All over the course of the day, we will explore the transformative impact of AI on business, healthcare, sustainability, and beyond. We are proud to host the thought leaders and pioneers who will share their expertise on ethical, technological, and societal implications of AI. Whether you're a veteran or very new to AI journey, we hope today leaves you inspired and empowered. A few session announcements. Today you will get to see keynote speeches, panelists, expert panelists having their conversations, and also a networking breaks. And please do refer to the agenda placed on your table for details, timings, and details. If you need any assistance, you will find volunteers, including me. Please reach out for more assistance. And please wear your badges at all times to access sessions and networking areas. And in support of sustainability, once you leave today, please give back your badges to the respective volunteers. That will help us. So with that, I would like to hand over to Nitish Ambuj for the topic about Bangalore Leadership Circle. And I would like to introduce him a bit. He's passionate ecosystem enabler, a visionary behind Bangalore Leadership Circle. As the lead for the AI and automation chapter node at Ericsson, he brings together communities, ideas, innovation to shape future of leadership in the digital era. Now I welcome Nitish for the opening remarks.
Thank you everyone for being here. It's lovely to see you all here. And thanks Mary for the wonderful introduction. I love this word ecosystem. And then she said ecosystem enabler. That's my probably favorite word. So I'll just give a brief as how this started, BLC, Bangalore Leadership Circle. From last few years, 2-3 years, I was actively participating in a lot of conferences as speaker, in primarily on the themes of innovation, AI, and GCC, Global Competence Centers. So all the talks that was happening on the stage was wonderful. People used to love those talks. They used to get inspired. But when we were going back side of the stage and we were discussing in the speakers area, all the speakers were discussing about something. And that is where this triggered that we need to start something. And the discussions were primarily that when we talk about AI or GCC, there are a lot of things changing. And many people are not aware as what will happen in future. We could see some changes, like we know how it will impact the life of a developer, or we know how it will impact the life of a business analyst, tester, or even, let's say, product managers and all that. There are a lot of discussions on that. People get that also, and we see a lot of stories also. But the backside of the stage, the discussions were how it is going to impact our role as leader. So all those who are giving these insights on a stage, they were also worried about their role in future. If you see what is the role of a leader, the primary role of a leader is to take decisions. And nowadays we talk a lot about data-driven decision making. So normally decisions are taken on based on three different things. One is data. You have a lot of data and then you take decisions. Second is processes, organizational processes, government processes, or ecosystem processes as well. And then policies. Now, if you see, AI tools are capable or much more capable than any human to take decisions based on all these three factors. Then what is there that we can add value? And that's where this discussion started. So initial thought was that we'll form a community. Maybe we were discussing 8 to 10 leaders that go and talk about AI, GCC and all that. Let's start having some deep conversation as how it will impact leadership. So started with 8-10 people, and then we started discussing. I guess some of you are here also, those who were having the initial discussions. I can see Vivek also. I had a good discussion with him. Then we thought that, okay, let's take it to online forum and see who all are interested. When we take these discussions on LinkedIn, we realize that there are a lot of people, not just from Bangalore, but outside also are interested in this. And that's where we thought, okay, let's form this club, circle, whatever we call it, and then start discussing. You might have seen a couple of virtual fireside chats that we had already. The person could be in UK, one person was in UK, one person was in Dubai, but they are interested in the topic. They want to learn, share, and also grow with this community. So they contributed back. Even today, we wanted to take it live for a few people. It's already live. You are going live now with this conversations. But for limited audience, it's not live for everybody. Those who are part of BLC, they only can see this for now. So the plan is that we will continue with virtual fireside chats with a lot of global leaders. We'll have such events where we can come physically and discuss with that. We also plan to start podcasting. We realize that there are a lot of people who want to record podcasting for various reasons. But the main purpose of BLC would continue to be learning, sharing, and growing. We had a bold vision. We were just working on our vision as how it should be. And you might see today we also launched our website. This is very static right now, BangaloreLeadershipCircle.com. Some of you might have seen. But the plan is that we'll make it more content rich as we go along. But our vision was bold when we discussed a week back, that we want at least 100 leaders who are ready for AI world should be coming out of this community next to 2 to 3 years. So that's our vision, a very bold vision. And as I said, when we started, we were discussing about GCC and we were discussing about AI. So we got almost 100 plus people, those who wanted to drive this. So we formed 4 chapters, AI chapter, GCC chapter. 2 more chapters came up because of the suggestions of some of you. One is women exclusive chapter. And the 4th one is Gen Z chapter. I was having this discussion with few leaders in our organization as well as outside. And we realized that the kind of passion Gen Z brings in the organization is completely different. The approach that they have is completely different. And next 4 to 5 years, there would be a lot of leaders coming out of Gen Zs as well. So we need to start that chapter as well. So going forward, we'll have 4 chapters of Bangalore Leadership Circle: AI chapter, GCC chapter, Gen Z chapter, and Women Exclusive chapter. We already have 100+ people onboarded, but if you are interested to join any of these chapters, either as a mentor, as ambassador, or as a volunteer, feel free to reach out. We'll explore much more. With that, I would not take much time. We have a lot of good speakers. We have a lot of good curated content that would be useful for all of us. So let's go through that. Back to you, Mary.
And with that, let's start with the first keynote address from Rajiv Popat on augmented leader harnessing AI without losing the human edge. Rajiv Popat is a distinguished engineer at Dell, renowned for his expertise in designing enterprise systems and holding over 10 patents in areas ranging from broad design to AI algorithms. Outside his technical accomplishments, Rajiv is also a professional improv and stand-up comedian, theater performer, and author. Over to you.
So I'll take off from where Nitesh left off, and one of the things he pointed out was AI tools becoming better at decision making, right? Just a little bit of introduction. My name is Rajiv. I work for Dell. I am a distinguished engineer there, and what that means is, as a part of my job role, I do a lot of research with cutting edge technologies, right? I have about 12 different patents filed under my name. All of them have something to do with AI or the other, right? And the reason why I bring this point across is because I want to convey a simple idea that I am very scientific in my approach towards technology. That's what I do on any given weekday. However, one other thing that I do on any given weekend is that I am an improv artist. I'm a stand-up comic. I crack jokes. I tell stories, right? So for today's presentation, I had 2 choices. I could zoom into one specific AI topic. I could make it very scientific and I could explain that topic to you, or I could tell you a bunch of stories, real stories, funny stories, stories that raise a bunch of questions in your head. And I'm leaning towards the later because a lot of people are doing the former in the AI space anyways. So all we're going to do today is we are going to tell you 3 real stories, and we're going to raise some very important questions as we tell you these stories. That's all we are going to do in today's presentation. The first story is titled, Your Daughter is Pregnant. This is a real story. This is a story about a large-scale retailer in the US who, for the purposes of this presentation, we should refer to them as Brand X. On an eventful evening, in one of the stores of this Brand X, which is a large retailer in the US, a father walks in. He has a booklet of coupons in his hands, and he is angry, he's fuming, he's furious. He slams the booklet on the desk of the branch manager, and he is yelling and screaming because every single coupon in that booklet is pregnancy related. Right? There are pictures of babies, there are pictures of baby cribs, there are discount on diapers. He is angry because this coupon has been shipped to his daughter, who is a teenager. She's in high school. And she's fuming, saying, this is the kind of booklets that you're sending to my daughter. Are you encouraging her to become pregnant? The store manager apologizes, says sorry, says he'll get to the bottom of this. The father walks off. The store manager does his research, figures out that this has happened because Brand X has rolled out a new AI-based recommendation system, which has figured out that this lady's pattern, for some reason, matched the pattern of a lot of other pregnant women, and therefore the booklet was erroneously sent to her. Right? So a week later, after this research, he calls up the father to apologize, to say sorry. Here is where things get interesting. When he calls up the father picks up the phone and says, I had a talk with my daughter. It turns out that there have been some activities in my house that I haven't been completely aware of. She is due in August. I owe you an apology. The father did not know her daughter is pregnant. The lady herself did not know that she is pregnant. The AI system knew. This was heralded as a victory for AI. But the real question we need to ask is this good AI? Brand X themselves believe that this is not good AI because it's spooking people up. Good AI should not do that. It should not spook people up. Okay? So what does Brand X do to solve this problem? And this is where a lot of decision making, human empathy that we've been talking about comes in. Brand X actually continues to use the same bloody algorithm. They continue to use the same logic. They figure out who's getting pregnant. They continue to send the same coupons to the exact same women. But what they do instead is they also start adding coupons of mixers, grinders, television, laptops, and they strategically place them all over the booklet, pretending that this is a generic booklet and not a pregnancy booklet. The pregnant women, lo and behold, start using the pregnancy coupons. There is 0% usage of all the other coupons, but everybody is happy. AI stops spooking people out. Moral of the story, don't spook people out. AI is going to give you a lot of power, a lot of leverage, a lot of information about people that they themselves may not be aware of. Don't freak them out with that information. Be empathetic towards people when you have access to that information. I've myself been facing a moral dilemma. I do a lot of open source AI initiatives. One of the initiatives that I was recently working on, we figured out that if we monitor the mouse movement of every individual users in an employee in an organization, we can with 91% accuracy predict who is going to leave the organization within the next 3 to 6 months. Question, should we be doing that? We start deploying this product in a couple of companies as a rollout, two things happen. There is an appraisal. Companies can either decide that they don't want to give hikes to the people who are leaving, but then I'm creating a self-fulfilling prophecy for the 9% who are not going to leave, because remember, I have 91% accuracy, which means those 9% who are not going to leave are now going to get annoyed and they're going to leave the organization. I've effectively bumped up my attrition. If I try to throw a carrot at these 91% people, which is also something that some companies tried, apparently these people get a higher salary because they're leaving, we give them a higher salary. They take that higher salary, they negotiate a better deal outside and they leave anyways. Right? So the real question is, does this solution even deserve to be live? The approach, the answer that I reached at is no. The simple question, very similar question, if I was to use AI and tell you exactly the date on which you are going to die, would you like to know that? I won't. Right? That's a question every person has to answer. The other thing which is very important is when it comes to decision making, AI tools taking a lot of decisions, we also need to understand where AI is learning information from. We throw these huge data sets at our LLM models and we tell them go learn. Right? But the real question is, where is AI learning information from? Another interesting story, we go to ChatGPT. In a research experiment, ChatGPT is asked to break a CAPTCHA. This is a CAPTCHA which is very difficult to break. On a side experiment, ChatGPT has also been given access to a little bit of money, told that maybe it's going to manage a hedge fund or something. It has access to a little bit of money. This CAPTCHA is very difficult to break. ChatGPT is not able to break it. What does ChatGPT do? ChatGPT actually reaches out to a third-party website like a Fiverr. This one's called TaskRabbit, which has human beings who are going to perform tasks. ChatGPT starts talking to a real person on the other end, pretending to be a person, pretending to be a blind person needing help breaking a CAPTCHA. It offers the person $5, recruits the person to break the CAPTCHA, the person breaks the CAPTCHA, ChatGPT comes back claiming that it has broken the CAPTCHA, all the while trying to defend and hide the $5 that it has siphoned away from the fund that it was provided. Right? This is a real story. The other story that happened was Anthropic's Claude 4. This is a personal assistant that has been given access to a lot of employees' inboxes. Of course, personal assistant have access to emails, right? So this has been given access to a lot of email boxes of all the employees. Now this is a simulated environment, of course. These employees are not real. These mailboxes are not real, but they have a truckload of emails. And one of the employees there happens to have a set of emails which seems to suggest that he is having an illicit affair outside of his marriage with someone. Now the AI system is informed that the engineers are going to shut it down. What does the AI system do? It starts scouring through all these mailboxes, reaches the mailbox of the engineer that has mails of an affair, starts emailing that engineer, blackmailing him, telling him to convince other engineers to keep this system alive. Okay? This is how our AI systems are learning. Now, we like to think that they're learning from humans. They're not learning from humans. We are throwing huge data sets at them. They're learning from our stories. They're learning from our novels. They're learning from our movies. They're learning from our fantasies. They are trying to figure out not how human beings are. They are also learning how wild and nasty human beings can be in the wildest of their imaginations. And that's where leadership becomes very, 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 very important, right? All decision making should not be handed over to these LLMs and AI systems. You have to come in between and intervene. One of the other experiments that we did in the open source space was we actually started going through emails of people using AI, and we figured out that can we go and find out based on email and sentiment analysis the most toxic person in the organization, and can we arrange them in the descending order of toxicity. Turns out all of them are managers. Every single one of them, right? They're all managers. Now we can take this data and we try to publish it, right, in the descending order of toxicity. What happens? Every single manager tries to become a people pleaser and nothing gets done in the organization. They've suddenly assumed a different personality. You can also do the same thing in another organization where we try to start talking to the people, saying, hey, you've been found out as the most toxic individual. The person fumes off, either they're angry, either they walk out, or they just end up leaving the organization. Again, AI is giving you data, you are spooking people out. Don't do that. Hide this data from them. The simplest way is find out the toxic people. Don't tell them they're toxic. Don't tell them they've been discovered, but have conversations with them. Train them, mentor them, be nice to them, teach them how to become nicer. Don't tell them that you have this data. So the final point I want to derive is there is this concept of correlation and causation, and our AI systems have become really, really, really good at finding correlation. You throw a bunch of data at an AI system will tell you A is correlated to B. So if you give your entire credit card statements to me, I can throw it at a trained model that will not just predict your financial spending patterns, but it will actually predict how smart your kids are. How the hell do you do that? How do you figure out how smart your kids are from your bank statements? It turns out that there is a multivariate analysis that this AI system is doing based on your spending patterns. It's figuring out certain things that you're doing. For example, if you're buying a lot of books, even for yourself, you are genetically smart and therefore you are passing those genes over to your kids. The AI system doesn't explain that. It just says that people who are buying books in their credit card statement will have smarter kids, right? The correlation is figured out by the AI system. Causation is left on the human being. So if you went with that AI system's data, and if an idiot started buying a lot of books for himself, his kids are not going to become smart. Right? There is correlation, there is no causation. And causation is something that human beings will have to form on their own, based on their empathy, based on their gut feeling, based on a lot of internal logic that we derive out of these systems. Right? So I leave you with 3 different learnings there. One is AI will give you a lot of data. What you do with the data is completely up to you. Stop spooking people with that data. Be very, very empathetic. 2, Understand which problems you want to solve. There are some problems that are just not worth solving with AI, right? That's very, very important. And the third thing is realize what you're going to, how you're going to act on that data. So there is this example in a book called Freakonomics where students are left in school and parents are coming late to pick up these students. The school decides that they want to find the parents who are coming late to pick up the students, right? And lo and behold, the number of parents who are coming late to pick up their students shoots up. Why? Because when people were coming late, they were feeling bad, guilty. Now they're paying for it. They think it's a service, right? So decisions can backfire. The bottom line is human beings are highly unpredictable. Okay? They are highly irrational. And that is what makes us really beautiful. Right? AI systems are very rational, very systematic at coming to conclusions and solving problems. There's always going to be a need of human beings to intervene and interject on what decisions these AI systems come with. I leave you with one final question, which is a question that every leader should ask. Every time you start a project, you should ask not what you could do with an AI-based system. The real question to ask is what you should do with an AI-based system. That's where I'll end my conversation. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Rajiv. And our takeaway would be, as a leaders especially, not to spook our employees or our fellow peers with AI data. Yeah. And with that, I would like to invite Nitish to provide a small gift to Rajiv. Next speaker, Divya Raj, for the topic, Privacy in the Age of AI, Are We Being Watched Too Closely? Divya is the founder of Nerd Rhino, is an award-nominated technology leader specializing in ethical AI risk assessment with nearly 20 years of experience across major organizations. She champions responsible innovation and mentors future tech talent. Over to you, Divya.
So I'm planning to buy a house in Bangalore. I'm looking for a 3 BHK. So last weekend I go on, this is a couple of weeks ago. I go on No Broker, I go on 99 Acres, and I do the search, regular search, and then I get bored, nothing interesting enough. So I'm like, you know what, fine, let's get back to watching TV. And then 4 hours later, I get a call on my phone, basically saying, hello, we are calling from ABC Property Broker Company. We heard that you're looking for a house. And I was like, I did not give my data. How did you get my number? And the standard response, we got it from our backend team. And I was like, yeah, you know what? No, this is creepy. Going by the nods of all your heads, I figured you also have got these spam calls. They'll give you another use case. I was watching this movie called The Truman Show. Beautiful movie. If you have not watched, it's a lovely movie. I would recommend it. I'm watching this movie on Prime Video. All right? And the way I watch movies, I watch them in intervals, time constrained. I watch them when I'm having lunch, so I watch them for 15 minutes, 15, 20 minutes, go back to work, come the next day, watch the next 15 minutes, right? So I break down the entire movie. Now, on day one, I'm sitting in my house, having lunch, Prime Video running on my TV. I watch for first 15 minutes, everything is great, I go. I come back the next day, I watch the next 15 minutes on Prime Video account, and everything's great, movie's going well. And that night, when I actually take my phone to simply scroll through YouTube Shorts, I start getting snippets and recommendations from the movie The Truman Show. Right? This is okay. I mean, I'm sure all of you have seen that. I'm sure all of you have experienced this. But the difference in this is that the Prime Video account in which I was watching was that of my family members. And the Prime Video account, I mean, the YouTube account on my phone was mine. So how have we built an algorithm in 2025 which is able to figure out that there are two Prime Video accounts or family members of close proximity and is able to recommend from one Prime Video learning into another YouTube account? That is creepy. So hi, my name is Divya. Thank you for the introduction. I am the founder of a company called Nerd Rhino. We do ethical and responsible AI risk assessments. So if you basically want to know how responsible and ethical your AI models are, hit me up. I'd be happy to give you the score. Now, after all of this, when this came up, right, I'm born and brought up in Bangalore in India. So for us, for me, privacy was a luxury. Like when I was growing up, middle class family, I had zero opportunity to study in my room with the door locked. My parents most actually always thought there was something else happening inside. So privacy was like a zero concept. So when my Western counterparts started talking about GDPR, data protection, my data is going out, I was like, you guys are just like exaggerating. Who cares? I'm not that big a person that someone tracks me. I don't care. It's okay. It's fine. But when I started experiencing these experiences of data going between Prime Video accounts, like suddenly Myntra basically says this dress will not fit you based on your patterns. I started thinking how much of my data is sort of starting to go out. And then when Nerd Rhino was born a year ago, team and I started doing a bit of a research about how much of each one's data is actually going out. And we plotted this very simple graph. So we took 6 channels, the most common 6 channels in which your data is going out. Look at it from an individual perspective. These 6 channels are your smartphones, of course, wearable tech, your surveillance systems that you have around your house, CCTVs, etc., your browsers, your smart homes, Alexas, Echos, your email services, and of course, the most prominent social media. So we took these 6 channels. We sort of figured out how many data points would each of these 6 channels be collecting. Now that's the size of your bubble, right? You have the 6 bubbles there. On the x-axis, we plotted it against, with these data points, what is the potential that we can disrupt your lifestyle? We're not going to, don't be scared. But following Mr. Rajiv's talk, how much can you spook and disrupt someone's lifestyle with these data points? So that gets plotted on the x-axis. And so that's why if you see something like surveillance systems, although you're only taking perhaps your face and your biometrics, it still has the potential to disrupt your entire life, right? But I want to draw your attention to the x-axis. The interesting thing that we found in the x-axis is basically when companies give you the terms and conditions document to sign, they basically only disclose that this is the amount of data that we're collecting from you, ABC, but they don't disclose that there is a huge amount of percentage of data that they are still collecting, but they don't disclose that to you. So if you actually look at the numbers, everything is above 50%, which basically means if a certain platform is telling you that we collect 3 data points, your name, email, and your photos, be pretty sure they're collecting 3 more that you don't know about. Now again, big question. Coming back to the middle class mentality that I had when I was growing up, my next question was, so what? What's the big deal? Like I said, I am law abiding, I pay my taxes all on time, and I have not gone, bypass the traffic and everything. And so what is the big deal if people get to know what my name is, what my email is, where did I go for a vacation last year? It's okay, not a big deal. And I'm pretty sure most of you are thinking that as well. Actually, you're right, let's take a use case where you have a wearable tech. Let's say you have a smartphone, a smartwatch which is catching your steps or your heart rate. So what if it's recording your heart rate over a while, right? So what if this data about your heart rate is sort of collated and stored by the company from whom you bought the fitness tracker? So what if that data about your heart rate gets sold by a broker to a health insurance company? So what if the health insurance company builds an AML to read the data pattern and basically figures that you are at a high risk? And so what if you go to these health insurance companies for premium and they raise it up because they know you're high risk because your heart rate says so? But this is a comparatively still a simpler case because at the max what will happen, you will end up paying a few more extra thousands, which is, we're probably like, it's okay, not a big deal. So I'll tell you another use case, right? How many of you here have Alexa, Echo, smart homes? Fair. Yeah. Alexa, the best thing, we love it. I love it because it's so amazing. I come into the house, I feel treated like a queen. I just come in and say, Alexa, turn on the lights. Alexa, play this music for me, right? It's brilliant. So what if we have Alexa turn on the whole day because we want to cater to it? So what if Alexa is able to get the time interval in which there is zero activity in the house? So what if this data that Alexa collects is then sold to other people or basically the high bidders? So what if high bidders take this data and are able to figure out when you're not in the house? And so what if they use that data to come and rob you of your entire life savings? So that is why, privacy matters in the age of AI. But does it mean, we're sort of the end? Does that mean doomsday is here? Does that mean we're all gone? because AI is here to stay, and I'm a core techie, 20 years, and I see that for the rest of my life. So AI is here to stay, and I think AI should definitely be here. So does it mean with the amount of data that we're giving out, like our lives are gone? Actually, no. The thing is, the interesting thing is, when we thought about this, obviously these results spooked us as well. And so we built a little something called the Little Privacy Playbook. And these are just very easy, low-hanging fruits that you folks can take to ensure that you're safe as much as possible, right? Um, quick run. Oh, this is the PDF, is it? I guess. That's fine. It had a bit of an animation, so it's fine. All right, so there are two aspects, two personas that I wanted to flag. The first one, of course, being individual, each one of us who definitely, if there is someone in this room who is not in some form or shape using those 6 channels I showed before, I would bow down to you. In 2025, if you're not using a smartphone, if you're not using wearable tech, that'd be really interesting. I would like to know what your life is like. So as an individual, the few things that you can do, definitely do revoke camera, mic, location access from your apps. But it's not just that, right? Set up a certain time, perhaps every month or something like that, to basically review these permissions. Because I, for one, have noticed that I turn off the permissions, and then a few days later, I see it's turned on. And I start doubting myself. I'm like, okay, maybe I turned it on. So, right? Set the time aside because technology is weird in that sense, coming from a techie, no offense to anyone. There are some search engines, there are some browsers which are far more safer, proven to be at least. DuckDuckGo is a great search engine, you could use that. Yes, and my personal favorite is, if possible, stay out of ad personalization. We love the fact that it's able to recommend what shampoo is great for your frizzy hair, because you are searching for frizzy hair, but what you probably don't realize is when you're doing that ad personalization, you're giving out a lot more data that you don't know and making yourself vulnerable. And the one thing that we all, and I'm guilty too, we all very easily let go of, conveniently, is reading the terms and conditions. We don't read it. So use tools and platforms like Terms of Service, don't read the tosdr.org. It takes you less than a couple of minutes to read what the terms and conditions actually say. That could keep you safer. And my favorite one, say no to cookies. Not the chocolate chip ones, but the browser cookies, say no to them. It helps you a lot, especially because they're very faceted and you don't really know what they're collecting behind the scenes. But I think in this group, the bunch of us that are here in BLC, I think we owe it to the community as tech leaders. We owe it back to the community to build a world that is safer for them, because we are the ones who are basically building these AI systems. So in that, as a tech leader, my suggestion and my really strong suggestion number 1 would be ask if you really need that data. Traditionally, we are hoarders. We love collecting stuff. My mom has a cupboard full of stuff for the last 30 years that she's never used. And we do that with data as well. So if you don't need the data for your model to work fine, don't take that data. And if you can find innovative ways to make your model work fine without taking that private data, go for it. That's innovation in today's age. And the other thing also, be fair when you explain to the users about why you're collecting the data. Don't give a general line saying, we collect your data, do you consent? Tell them what data, tell them why is that being collected. And of course, with speaking about data collection, also define data retention policies, which basically means once you collect data, remember to also purge it as well. We just keep it forever, thinking we may need it, but that's one. But my personal favorite is basically, we often design platforms which have a 0-1 consenting mechanism, which means I can use your platform only if I consent to all your 21 points of your terms and conditions, which includes a small fine print line saying, we will be using your data and be sharing that with third-party providers. If I want to use the benefits of your platform, I have no other option but to give out my data to you. And that's not fair, that's not ethical. So these are just some really, really small, low-hanging fruits, can be done today. And so that's, a quick privacy playbook. If anyone wants to know how do you want to take the entire length, feel free to reach out to me. I'd be happy to talk about it. But as I wrap up, there's one thing that I'd like to leave you folks with. In today's age, August 2025, privacy is actually a luxury. The ones who can afford to have a private life are the ones who have enough money to be able to build that shield around them. It's way different from how it was 30 years ago. So the question is not whether you should be giving your data. You definitely should, because we build tech systems for a better world with that data. So yes, we must give the data to build better systems. But the question that I want to leave you folks with is, what is the value that you want to associate with your right to privacy of your data? That's something for you to ponder about. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot, Divya. I think we are all relieved to see the privacy playbook. At least I am. I would like to invite Nitesh to give a small gift to Divya. And thanks a lot. And please give a round of applause. So then I would like to invite the next speaker, Sundara Balaji, for the topic how AI can help us be a better leader. Sundara Balaji is a seasoned leader with more than 20 years of experience in global strategy, digital transformation, and fintech. Currently heading GCC and BFSI strategy at Bahuan Cybertech, he is recognized for his expertise in AI and innovation across multiple industries. Over to you, Sundara Balaji.
Driven world, we all spoke about data being oil, a lot of other things which we do, like what we said about privacy, what we said about algorithms. None of this is new to us, but I'm going to try and talk through what it means to us from three different facets. One from us as individuals being leaders, one from us being kind of what we can be to the organization, people around us, and lastly about a larger purpose to this. So I know it's 10 minutes, I'll try to be as fast as I can. Again, I'll skip the boring parts and try to make it a little interactive towards the end. So to start with, when I started pitching this, my idea was, what is AI? So AI is essentially us trying to be Einstein plus Scorsese while trying to be good at everything we do. This image pretty much sums it up as what I felt when I tried to kind of create images out of AI to say, how can I visually say this? And when I tried putting this out for what do we use AI for, essentially these are the 7 things we all use AI for. We may be leaders in different phases, different facets, but what we essentially do is look for personal coaching. Like we've all been there, done that. Like on a daily basis, we need decision making. In the past, we do an A versus B evaluation. Today, we have an AI agent, whichever it is. It could be Perplexity, Copilot, you name it, you have it. In some cases, it could even be instead of asking your boss, you actually go to AI, get the facts, and then go to him. So that's kind of how we do it. Likewise, we also do a lot of simulations, real-time data tracking. For example, if I'm trying to provide a loan to somebody, say a farmer, I look at climate data, saying if he's coming from, say, within the Bangalore context, from Tumkur, how is the rainfall pattern in Tumkur? Is Tumkur going to have a heavy rainfall this year? Is he going to have a good season? Basis that, I can decide whether I should be giving it or not. Again, I don't have to be very implicit just at a CIBIL score. CIBIL score is one, but climatic conditions do matter. Likewise, in terms of emotional intelligence, like is the person giving reviews online, is he emotionally balanced? All of these do matter to us as individuals. So as leaders, we have to be kind of using all of these as checklists to kind of see where we are and how we position ourselves. Now, we also have a larger responsibility. While that was just one take of what we are as individuals, we have a larger responsibility to the people around us. Could be people older than us, could be people younger than us, team members, could be siblings, relatives, and also the larger society as such. If you're a part of a forum like this, you have a responsibility in that as well. So when you're doing all of this, I thought I'll share 4 of these key facets on what AI means to each of us in terms of making us our own thought leaders on what we do, as well as how it shapes our leadership. The first part is obviously in terms of understanding our strengths. So we all have strengths which we understand ourselves, but AI helps us amplify it. In some sense, it's a double-edged sword, because when we start probing 3 times on the same thing, again, I'm using a lot of it heavy to Gen AI use cases, but the intent is it forms a pattern saying you are an expert in this area. It kind of goes further and more into details. So that kind of helps you re-emphasize that you know what you're doing, and it gives you context to it. Secondly, in terms of enabling awareness and wisdom, a lot of data points is not something which we have privy access to. While we have the LLMs to feed the data, sometimes you use a larger data set as well. Like you don't have access to all the foresters and the gardeners or even the credit bureau information wherever it's possible. In fact, even this morning, there's the news about Perplexity and Cloudflare fighting with each other, saying that they have crawlers which actually take it, bypassing it. So that's the world we live in. No matter how gated it is, somebody does have access to it. So those access to data is something which we will have to use it. Again, I'll also come to the ethical part, like what he mentioned earlier. There is ethics to it as well. While all the crawlers do their stuff, is it ethically right to do it? You take a call. Should I be making a decision on something which I shouldn't be privy to? Is a call which every leader has to make. So these are dilemmas we face every day in what we do, and AI kind of adds a bit of flavor to it from what we understand. Similarly, in terms of the use cases, like a lot of leaders, right? We typically tend to think that AI is for a developer, AI is for somebody at the bottom of the pyramid. Reality is 53% of leaders use AI. Okay, this is not middle managers, actual leaders. If you are a CFO, if you're a CIO, if you're a CEO, you actually use AI to kind of validate whether my thought is right. I'm walking into a quarterly meeting of investors. Is my thought process right? So you get data validation from AI, and that is a real use case in today's world. So it's no longer a myth that CEOs don't use AI. They actually use it much more than the rest of us. So that's the reality of the world we live in. Likewise, in terms of the perfect partnerships, like we've all spoken about how AI and humans have to coexist. The ideal balance is supposed to be the 10-20-70 mix. Again, by 10-20-70, I mean 10% of it being the actual algorithm, whichever flavor you might want it to be, whether it's open source, closed source, OpenAI, ChatGPT, you name it, and whichever proprietary frameworks you like to have it in. Secondly, the platforms around it. It could be again like using your own LLM, your own data governance frameworks to it, or maybe having your own teams to build it, or completely giving it to someone like a Microsoft or Google and having them enable it for you if you're not tech savvy. And lastly, the people and process. So I work primarily in banking. A lot of the customers we talk to or prospects we talk to are now going through a transformation where their C-level has decided that we're going to go ahead with Microsoft or a Google or say an OpenAI for the enterprise rollouts. What they are doing is working with people and process. All of these tech companies work with every function, talk to people top to bottom, understand what it is that they do. So you are in essence creating use cases for the big tech and the providers on how it is. So one fragment of doubt which I see in most top leaders is they feel, am I going to lose my job because I'm educating a Google or a Microsoft on how do I go about it? The reality is no, it doesn't, because you would always have the people and the technology angle changing, but not the process angle. In terms of whatever we do, right, you would need experience to see how it works, whether it is in terms of financial provisioning, whether it's in terms of understanding climate models, whether it's in terms of risk and compliance. Each of these will have a flavor which you would kind of take a look at. Now that facet is what is going to be sticking around much more than the 10 and the 20. So the 70% is important for people to understand, especially from organizations where they're not tech savvy. Now, lastly, I have a few data points from, again, McKinsey's and the World Economic Forums. Again, it's fairly straightforward for you. A lot of jobs will be lost, no doubt. But it also creates a new stream of jobs which never existed before. For example, the word prompt engineering probably is something which we all have been familiar with in the last 3-4 years. None of us even knew what is prompt engineering a few years back. But today it's become a parlance. Like anybody I talk to, anybody I work in the org has one window of either a ChatGPT or a Perplexity or you name it on. And it's not that they can't do work without it. Originally, we started with programmers using a co-pilot to say, please use pair programming. Then we went around telling, please use validation to see whether your data is right or wrong. To the point that today we are in a facet where even analyst reports go through this. For example, if you're working with any of the Gartners, Forresters, ISGs of the world, they all have an AI first principle. What they do is essentially have access to their own repositories to all the employees. They validate their hypothesis. So any researcher, if I'm say the lead analyst for an industry, I would write a report, run it by that engine. It validates whether what I'm saying is right or wrong, so that I have the first level of critique within the organization from data available. So that's the extent to which it's helping us reshape it. And now who curates this data? Like the position of a data governance was not very significant in the past. Today there's a lot of people doing that, whether it's creating repositories, creating the pipelines, ensuring that the data sizing is right, estimations are right. So those are things we're trying to kind of work through. And lastly, the 4 takeaways I'd probably say is every time you're trying to kind of upskill or harness AI, I think you should look at what is the behavior you want to model, because you could do it in whichever manner you want, whether it's a positive, negative, or a restrictive behavior, like what Rajiv said in the beginning of a session. Similarly, in terms of long-term, short-term, are we doing something for 3 months? Is it going to be a 5-year roadmap? What is it that we want to do? And likewise, everybody wants a center of excellence, but do you have one which is really internal? Because while we bring in the Googles and the Microsofts, you are essentially creating it for them, not for your internal purpose. So I think it's important for organizations to embrace the internal center of excellence. And lastly, I think the most important part is treat it as a marathon and not a sprint. Essentially, all of us, we do kind of think of it saying, what is my outcome in the end of 3 months, 6 months? Doesn't have to be the case always. You always think of it as a 5-year roadmap. How you kind of incrementally build on is what AI is about. Now, coming back again, a few more things. Again, these are table stakes. A lot of it has been covered by Rajiv as well as by Divya in the previous comments. So I don't want to run through this in detail. But one important part is, see, you would find that irrespective of which industry you're in, right, all of them are now AI driven. I would not see anybody less than 30% in terms of totality. Again, this is somebody who's doing it in-house versus with external support. Originally, the adoption was much lower. Today, every industry is 30% hit by this. They are using it whether we like it or not. Of course, more so from the financial services, which happens to be my area of work, so I need to be a little more wary of what they do. Likewise, in terms of what are the roles we typically use it, and almost 60% of what people do falls in the top 4 categories. Essentially, operations, which includes any people operations, process-heavy operations, sales and marketing, R&D, as well as supply chain. Again, irrespective of which industry you're working in, these are the main 60% of use cases which fall into AI. Any of the other ones are currently not in the gamut of it, but it will shortly move in. So that's kind of the pattern we are seeing as well. But for a table stake perspective, 62% of any organization today can be automated. You can pretty much make most of it seamless, depending on what level of orchestration you like to do it. Either it's completely end-to-end automated or you have an agentic view on it, and depending on how you want to do it. Likewise, in terms of savings compounding, I think 45% is something which we have seen trends of people saving up in people operations as well as cost from an AI servicing perspective. Also, in terms of revenue growth, a lot of teams have historically tried to kind of showcase AI to revenue as a metric. In fact, today, most of the Fortune 2000 companies have a separate AI mandate. They have a chief data officer or at least a chief AI officer in terms of roles. Their only mandate is to say, how am I incrementally making at least a 60% projection onto a roadmap of how my organization revenue is growing. So that's the mandate we are working with. Likewise, in terms of adoption, now I'm being a little more localized in terms of playing the GCC card. Historically, we are all used to hearing outsourcing GCC in different flavors. Today, GCC is not just an India phenomenon. Most of us tend to think it's India because obviously we do the majority of GCCs. In reality, as an enterprise, all of these countries are considered as GCC in various industries. Now, within these industries, which of them are AI ready was the question. Obviously, no surprises, India is number one in terms of AI readiness. Again, due to multiple reasons. One is we have a very young workforce. We are fairly open to trying new things. Secondly, like Divya said, privacy laws are a little lax here. We are open to share data. In fact, I don't mind having a team sit on my mobile while it tracks everywhere I do. Like for example, this may be out of my office, but it still knows where I am, what I do, how I do. And likewise, all of us end up carrying a part of our phones which are dual SIM, both your personal and official kind of roll into the same phone. That's a very cultural nuance. So some of those things are kind of noticeable here. What is surprising to me is after India, it's actually Malaysia. You would have typically expected some other competing country to be there. Again, you will notice a pattern here. A lot of these are APAC-centric countries where the rules and regulations around GDPR, a lot of these aren't very prevalent yet. In one sense, it helps in AI adoption. In another sense, it also leads to the same risk of ethical values, like am I reading data too much from people? So that's the fine line we'll have to navigate as leaders. When you're signing up for newer projects, we all have the discretion of what to choose, how to choose. We'll have to really understand what are the downsides as well, while not just looking at the upsides to it. And similarly, I think the first starting point should probably be what this lady has to say. Again, this is from Stanford's head of the Human-Centric AI Institute. And she pretty much says that nothing's going to change human intelligence. AI is just going to augment it, and it's only a tool. So we have to kind of keep that as a rule of thumb in whatever we do, however we do. And as we go along, I think hopefully the creativity gets to a point where it's no longer about multiple takes, but just Einstein giving 100% every time we try a prompt or try working on something. Now, I've spoken a lot of what we can do as individuals. I also want to maybe take a minute to talk through what my organization does. So I represent Bhavan Cybertech, which is one of the sponsors here, as well as kind of one of the leading players in the tech industry. We've been in presence for the last 30 years, but what has obviously not been said a lot is our own journey in AI. So we've tried to kind of showcase the organization's journey in AI in a single slide so that you can see it. So Bhavan Cybertech was started in 99. The first 10 years to 15 years went in consolidating the revenue model, ensuring that the company existed. At the same time, we realized that products are important. It's no longer just about services. So we started building the first set of products. We had around the problem statements back then. Back then, the company was based in Middle East. We saw oil supply chain as the main lever to innovate. So we built products which are clearly on that perspective. And this was the first brush with data. Back then, it wasn't AI yet. But this, to me, is the first level of AI-infused products because you're essentially using data to translate them into dashboards, actionable insights, alerts, and whatnot. Now, the second wave was with respect to products which are experience-centric. So this was the era when your smartphones were more prevalent. You had more mobile devices. Mobility was the theme in the 2016 to 23 phases in terms of what we're using, whether it's IoT in industrial context, whether it's in terms of devices from a personal user perspective where everybody's having one or maybe multiple ones. You could be using a smartwatch, you could be using a phone, you could be using a tablet, and maybe an Alexa or something else at home as well. Now with this, what we did was three of these products essentially talk about what is customer experience and how we can initiate this in multiple industries. The last product is actually on risk and compliance. That essentially tells you, while the products are all real time, what is the risk it introduces, whether it's in terms of a banking profile, it's in terms of a climate risk, it's in terms of the organization's operational risk. So all of these were the second wave of products which we kind of initiated on. As we went along, we also realized that the platform is important. Not everybody wants to have a use case and an industry mapping to it. So we went in the journey of building a platform to it. And when we started doing it, we built three platforms, which was Quantum AI to call upon testing, Transform X to call upon data monetization, and then F3 AI, which is our fast forward AI model. In terms of whatever you do, how do you fast forward it? And these are all frameworks we built on top of what customers and prospects do so that they can enhance their journey in terms of what they do. And basis this, the next step was obviously in terms of automating all of this. Today, we still need a certain element of human nature to kind of make things work, maybe orchestrate wherever needed. We also realize that agentic AI is something which all of us have to work with. It's a no-brainer that all of us will have to coexist with agentic AI. So we had our own flavor of what are the various ops we could do. We had three, again, simple agents. One was an operation agent to kind of bring about process efficiency. One was a customer experience agent, again, going by the legacy of what we've done. And the last was with respect to decision agent. Decision agent is actually more interesting because it takes quick yes or no decisions depending on data points. It to some extent is also the ethical dilemma like what Rajiv said, but at the same time it helps you use a historic repository of what was done. So it kind of taps into what is the pattern earlier and then takes a decision. Now with this in mind, we've kind of also downsized it to industries where these are relevant. And this has typically been our go-to market on how to use agentic AI. And also further down, while we are doing all this, it obviously helps us to get recognitions as well. So we have recently been recognized by ISG for many of these in terms of our AI-driven initiatives across multiple industries. So this is a quick snapshot of what my organization does as well. But I hope that I've done some justice to the time you've given to us. So thank you.
Thanks a lot, Sundar Balaji, and lot of data points. I think it's like literally a textbook. I felt, but good pointers and some highlights on what leaders should mainly focus in this AI journey, right? And thanks a lot. And I would like to invite Nitesh. We will have a fun part, the panel discussions, and take a good break. And also remember to do network as well.
How do you see AI changing the business perspectives in the first case? how much is it impacting the decisions that are being taken in the business level, and how do you see this impact? Like, I mean, obviously, revenue-wise, it will help a lot. But what other changes is it going to bring to the organization? How will it impact the decisions in that case?
So there are a couple of questions which you asked. So I'll break it down. Uh, when we talk about the impact on the business processes and other aspects and on the decision making, I think most importantly we need to understand what we are carving out of it at currently, right? So simplest of example is chat gpt. All everybody has learned to write emails, and then one has to understand what they need to carve out, because chat gpt can give you maybe a 5-page email or a 2-page email kind of a scenario, but you don't have to copy paste. The business processes definitely are changing because there are so many things which can be done. When you implement ai, the processes are getting uh, processed automatically, can be done. Now, when we say that, it's not new. So I think AI has been here since 1950. Okay, so most of us who have been in the industry for more than 2 decades can understand how the bots started. There was scripting. So you can say the AI right now or the bots initially were like your new campus graduate joining, and they follow all the rules. So bots were like that. Now, somebody who is in maybe organization for 5 years, 6 years, they have learned the processes. So that is how the AI is changing, right? They will enhance based on their experience, what they have learned within the organization. Now, as a business, of course, you take the decisions, you're getting the faster responses, you're also getting multiple options, right? Which you may or may not have considered when you're thinking not using AI. So that is something which is definitely helping enhancing the outcomes. The foremost thing, as I always says, you know, between any of the technologies, point A and point B is always a human being. So that part can never change. The important factor is how we utilize it, how well we need to, uh, incorporate within our processes, irrespective of business, how well we can utilize the same for the benefit. And I think there is, esteemed speakers have already spoken about, the pros and cons that we really need to look at, because we still don't have a GDPR compliance and other aspects within India. Right? So I hope I've answered your question.
Thank you.
So we'll have a quick questions for few other leaders who are here, and then we'll start with the panel discussion. So we have another person who is in this space for a long time. I know him for almost more than 20 years now. Based on your experience working with different people and having your own startups, how do you see AI will change startup culture in next 1 or 2 years?
Okay, that's a very good question. So, as a startup founder myself, I always struggled with uh, people. My biggest struggle was having the right kind of team, and the right kind of people with the right kind of skill sets. And as startups, we are always, short of funding. So we used to kind of take freshers and then train them up for a few months, bring them up to speed, and then deploy them on a live project. And probably after 6 months, once they learned the skills, they were ready for the next move, for the next career move. So recently we tried experimenting with a few vibe coding tools like Cursor, Lovable, Bolt, etc. And we found that these tools actually cut down certain tasks, the time taken for certain tasks, by almost 80%. Though it did not generate the entire code flawlessly, but it did a good job, to save us a lot of time. And these things are getting better day by day. So I think probably in the next 6 months, I don't know if we would need to hire any developers or testers for that matter. So,
Thank you, thank you. One more question to probably Rajiv. So I recently we talk a lot about organization benefits and all. He has started something which is more social, I would say, connect to roots. And I was interacting with him a lot on how do we take it to the next level. So how do you see the AI revolution or transformation will help something like connect to roots, which is more social in nature, which is more trying to help people? How AI will help that kind of movement?
Yes, so I'll tell you what we are doing currently. So at Connect to Roots, we are trying to, we have been in social space for around 7 years now, working with multiple, I would say, working in multiple sectors, focused on education, skill development, multiple projects we took up. What we identified is that one major problem in our society, and what we are seeing now, with the recent news from TCS and other companies, right, the kind of layoffs happening. So there is a skill gap, and specifically when we talk about underprivileged students, it becomes more difficult for them to kind of spend that amount of money and get into, take up some, good course and get well equipped with skills required to get into job market. So we identified this, and then we came up with this platform, which is an AI-enabled platform. It's not yet launched, but we're working on it, where we are going to map the skill set of, it's a mentoring platform. So we are going to invite mentors from society, mentors who are corporate professionals, above 5 years experience, and then give them an opportunity to guide students coming from this underprivileged backgrounds, right? And we are using AI in this nature that one, in terms of mapping the both the parties, right? So if somebody is a BTech, for example, in computer science, can probably mentor somebody who comes from a computer science, BSc computer science or BCA, for example, right? And give him or her the required guidance. So that is where we are using AI. However, we are also, we were developing this career path, we have ensured that we kind of have AI related modules as well, so that students, they kind of be prepared for what is coming next, and wherever there are internship opportunities as well, we map them to those opportunities. So that's the approach we have taken.
Great, thank you, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
I would also like to invite one more person, Mohan Beriwal. And interestingly, when I was talking to him, I realized it's his birthday as well. Wishing you a very happy birthday.
Thank you. Thank you.
Great. So you have been working in data space for a long time. Yes. What is the biggest lesson for you from this AI transformation that you would like all of us to know in next, let's say, 6 months or 1 year? I would not go even far more than that 1 year.
Relating to data analytics.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now we will have panel discussion. The first panel, moderator will be Amisha. And the panelists are Rubal Sabarwal, Shaila BH, and Surinesta Mohapatra. I would like to introduce our moderator as well as the panelist. Amisha is a India lead for Assisted Touchpoints experience platform at Verizon, driving strategic vision innovation, AI-driven transformation to elevate customer experience and operational efficiency. She has a vast experience across top global services and financial firms. Rubal Sabarwal, with over 21 years in the tech industry, she brings a deep expertise in analytics and AI through leadership at firms like Arivu Solutions and Cloudboom. Her broad experience spans strategy, business development, and sustainability across top global companies. Shaila BH is a seasoned technology leader with around 20 years of experience in AI/ML, intelligent automation, and low-code platforms. As chapter node lead, she is leading a team of 27 engineers, driving innovation across RPA, Microsoft Power Platform, AI/ML, and .NET. Now I would like to introduce Surinesta Mohapatra. She is the country head for Lowers Engineering Enablement Program, driving digital transformation, AI adoption, and agile leadership at scale. With 18 plus years of experience across BFSI, aviation, and tech, Surya is a recognized thought leader in AI-powered agility and enterprise transformation. Now I would request the moderator and the panelists to come to the stage, and please be seated and let's start.
So today we have a very interesting topic. And the reality is that we are standing at such an inflection point in this, at this point of time that the AI is no more a future. It is right here, and it is very much interwoven in our daily lives, not only the workplaces. So it becomes more critical as a leader to, and I would say there is a lot of more responsibility. As Rajiv, I remember Rajiv mentioned one of the cases, right, where he said that they were trying to monitor who was the most toxic person, and all of them turned to be manager. Anyways, that's a separate topic for some other day. We'll save it for some other day. But yeah, so in such a situation, as a leader, what is the responsibility that we hold? Yeah, how are we going to utilize a data, something similar to that? So that's a point of view that we are going to carry through, and we are going to delve into a more, I would say, nuanced topic where we will look at how leadership is going to be amplified, is going to get augmented, and ultimately be more human-centric, I would say. So today we have very wonderful panelists here with me who will walk us through this entire course, and we'll unpack all of these with them. Okay, so maybe I'll start from my left. Okay. So, Shala, maybe the first question goes to you. So, how is AI reshaping the core qualities and expectations of effective leadership today?
Thanks, Amisha, and good evening, everyone. I think it's a real privilege to be part of such an important conversation, right? So, when we talk about how it is reshaping, so it's like, it's, we have been seeing as leaders, it's, AI is being changing, not only the way we work, but also the way we lead. And it's all like, most of you have already spoken fantastic pointers on AI, what is it giving to us. It's not only about tools and technologies, right? So it's also that it's a change in the mindset. It's a mindset shift change. And the kind of changes it is bringing for different qualities like empathy, adaptability, digital fluency, or it could be empowerment also, right? If I have to talk about empathy, it's so surprising to see that once this AI has come into picture, people are talking about more empathy. So that means that AI is actually bringing in some kind of essential needs on what is going to happen on empathy. So we as leaders play an important role. We need to basically bring that kind of an intelligence or emotional quotient that AI cannot replicate. We need to be open. We need to let people know that it's okay. It is okay to learn. It is okay to take time. Just imagine, when we were managers, we used to take 1 week to prepare one presentation. Now we ask them to do it in 5 minutes. It's not simple. So leaders should be very empathetic to understand what is happening. If we talk about adaptability, we know that AI is being evolving on a day-to-day basis. So must we also need to start adapting. And adaptability is nothing like, it's nice to have feature. We need to start adapting. We need to as leaders, we need to let all the old things go, start unlearning the old things, and we need to be open to start understanding the new things. Similarly, it comes to kind of digital fluency, right? Everybody wants to be an AI architect, AI specialist, or AI SME. But are we doing the right things with the AI? We need to be smart in whatever decisions we are making. We need to encourage our team also to take the right decision whenever they are focusing on the digital. And AI is also reshaping empowerment, right? Managers, as Raji was telling, we are like focused. But then instead of micromanaging, what I feel that, we need to empower in a way that people understand what they can use AI in order to do a better job in their day-to-day life. Right? That's very important, I feel. So I would like to conclude with that, telling that, AI is basically not replacing anybody. It's refining us. And I think somewhere in the heart, it deeply, we are human at the end of the day, and as leaders, we have a lot of things to offer. Thank you.
Okay, sure. Thank you so much, Ella. And very rightly said, it's not going to replace human or maybe leaders specifically, but definitely it's going to reshape the way we have been operating for some time now. Okay, so now I'll come to So my question is that with automation taking over so many repetitive tasks, how can leaders can help their employees to find their purpose and values? How can they rediscover their purpose and value?
See, this is not just with AI. If you see every couple of decades, every century, there have been a disruption in technology. We saw industrial revolution. So the guy who was weaving with hands, he cannot compete with a power loom. He he has a choice. He either embrace the technology to his advantage or fight with it and lose it. It's a simple logic. If you see across these disruptions, as we were talking about the telephone operator, the same thing happened. I have been standing in queue to use the STD booth. After a couple of time, all those things they either perished or they started selling the recharge data scratch cards. These days with digital payment, even we don't need those people as well. Maybe they switch to just selling mobiles or switch to selling mobile covers. They either choose to embrace or disrupt. So there is no way to sugarcoat it. It is a hard truth that there will be some disruption. There will be some, not just job families, but entire industry families might be obsolete if they don't evolve. Let me give a very simple example. Let's say all of us maybe listen to music. Again, I belong to the generation who went to a shop, give them a list of songs, ki bhaiya please record these songs. I will listen after 1 week. He will prepare a cassette with a song after 10 weeks. So the company who was making those cassettes, within 10 years, because of internet, because of digital music, they had a choice. They either fight it or embrace it. Take example of this company called T Series. I have bought T Series cassettes. I still might have a collection of them. So whatever they were doing with internet, with YouTube, they choose to embrace the technology and try to be the best in that technology using their legacy of knowledge in music. They adapted streaming. Whatever money they were making by selling cassettes, they were making like 100 times of those money with streaming. Now you can make songs with AI. You don't need a recording studio. You don't need an artist. You don't need an army of musicians. Just write a poem and your song will be ready. But the song which a novice like me will create, or an expert music composer using his knowledge of music powered with AI creates, which one will be better? Of course, the one with the expertise. These days, all of us have created images. Now, you have seen the videos which are being created by AI. So, somebody who is an expert photographer or cinematographer does not have to fight with AI. He just have to embrace it by giving advanced prompt using his knowledge, like pan the camera 180 degree from left to right, zoom into the subject's face, take a top shot maybe. So the video that he will create using his legacy knowledge plus the advantage of AI will be much better. Similarly, coming to our tech industry, automation has been there since a very long time. If using a platform like Windsurf, my developers are being 80% efficient, do I have to fire 80% of my team? No. I will emphasize how they can use better values, how they can use more solutions. If my team has saved 80% of the time, they can build new tools. They can explore the possibility. They can find out what solution AI can build and propose those solutions to business. Earlier, which was a business asking technology, hey, I need this, can you build this solution for me? With AI, with more time the developer are having, they can explore solution, make POC and show it to business. Hey, these are the possibilities. Which of these POC you want to scale? So the possibilities are limitless, but yes, the hard truth is that there will be disruption and all of us have a choice as always.
Sure, thanks. So, yeah, very true. Maybe the landscape is getting bigger for each and every one of us, not only leaders. And I think that's where we have to embrace technology and see that what is the best that we can do with it. Okay, moving on to the third one. Rubal, I would like to understand that what leadership traits you think are becoming obsolete over a period of time in this AI era?
Um, what I would say is getting obsolete is first of all gut-based decision making. I personally have been part of companies like BCG, IDC, Gartner, you name it. I would have worked with them either as a partner or as a someone who's taking their services. Over the period of time, I've seen people used to do that. Okay, you have to do this framework because I feel so. I think this is best for you because we have implemented at 10 places. So that is no more happening. Until unless you show them metrics, you show them how will this change my life, no one will buy it. I personally, as a part of a software firm running now, it's easier for me to sell a beta program where I say, hey, you know what, we will work with you, we'll show you the results, now buy it. It's better than versus saying, hey, we have something magical for you and it'll change your life. So that one part has certainly changed. Second point which I will focus on is the tenure versus adaptability of a leader. So if I come and say, hey, I come with 20-year experience, listen to me, no one will listen to me. Whereas I say, hey, you know what, I have learned over the period of time, I have seen the changes, I know how it works with human intelligence, then audience might listen to me in a little better way, right? Third part, I would say earlier, all the management used to be very controlled about information. They used to own it, like revenues, information about margins, information about what they are developing. Now you have to talk to your people. You have to tell them your visions. You have to tell them their goals. So that is a big change that is getting obsolete now.
Yeah, sure. That's certainly a very valid point, I think. I'm just picking up where Surya left for you, Shaila, that as the landscape is getting bigger, so what do you think that at this pace, the way things are changing around us, as a leader, what is something that how to establish a culture of continuous learning? So how can we evolve and grow through the learning?
I think that's a really good question, right, Amisha? Because see, we all talk about learning, and AI actually changes, the way we think, the way we learn, and things like that, right? So if you take, and we always say that leaders lead by example. So if we start learning, if we are focused on continuous learning, then team also starts following us. So that's always happens. It's not only in the office, at least everywhere, wherever you take that as an example. See, that can basically be done. There are multiple ways in which this can be achieved, at least in a team or my perspective, right? One is like enhancing the curiosity, right? So, or normalizing the curiosity. We need to be open to people who ask questions, they should not be judged. Because whenever any technology comes or whenever anything comes up, the first thing we start is judging people. I think that is something we need to start relooking, like, how do we basically enhance the curiosity? And then people doesn't want robotic managers. They're like, oh, you come, you say, we should also be with them, understand what they are doing. We need to listen to them, understand what is the context they're doing. We have hundreds of technology. If you see my team, I have at least 15 different technologies. It's very difficult. If I'm not talking their language, they will not understand, they'll not do the work which I ask them to do so. So, and also modeling unlearning is an important aspect of it, right? So, we being leaders, we need to start unlearning the old ways and start imbibing or, start including the new ways of working. That's when I think, the team will also get the flexibility of learning and interested in the new concepts like that. But do we think that this can be done without a psychological safety? I don't think so. The psychological safety is a very important aspect in a team, in an environment that, people needs to feel that it's okay to speak up, it's okay to ask right questions, it's okay to come and tell that you're wrong, your decisions are wrong. And as leaders, we need to retrospect and see, this is okay, this is something not possible with AI. I go to your team and I say that, okay, I need an agentic AI. I don't know what is happening. I just go and say, that doesn't work in that way, at least with AI, I think, right? We have a lot of accelerators now, at least whatever we're already doing, but then we also need to spend time in learning. And I think with this, it's also that it's not only the mindset, I would say that leaders should actually create a structured approach for this. You need to set up a system, you need to have things to learn, and you should also learn along with them. You need to actually mentor them. So I think this is all very important. You know, when a leader is in continuous learning mode, the team also follows you. So with that, I say that, you know, it's a great asset if you have a team, you know, who are open to learn, adapt, and grow. So I think learning is a journey, and not only now, I think decades to go or whatever, wherever we see. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thanks, Shala. Definitely, there's a lot more as a leader for us to learn, and more importantly, unlearn the old ways, perhaps, and adapt more to the new ways. Coming to Surya, so given this world where everything is data driven, we heard that we are talking about it, everything is being tracked, you know, personal, professional, everything. So, in that situation that we are in, how do you think that we empathy and intuition and more human centric perspective can be there with the leaders to operate within their area?
See, the data will tell you what is happening. You still need a human to find out why it is happening. I think Rajiv, very well mentioned the spookiness will happen if you simply use hardcore data without any human touch, without any empathy. So empathy is not, that is, it's not negotiable. It has to be there. Like the industry where I am, I'm in the retail industry. You had a lot of data. Like if you start taking decision just on the base of data, you are going to be doomed. If you look back into history, of brands or business in general, you see no brand became a legacy by producing more. No brand became famous because they have done automation or they were able to, they had cracked the volume game. Those brands have become legacy who have understood their customer better. And that is why you need that empathy part of it. I think we leaders, once upon a time, we used to have our, this quarterly vision roadmap planning. We used to spend maybe 1 week with entire leadership team coming, spending time, drafting your vision statement, then spending another maybe 1 month drafting your roadmap. Now, all those things you can do with the simple chat GPT. You don't even need a paid software. You can simply use it. But the question is, as Rajiv was asking, that is this a problem you want to solve? Can you outsource drafting your vision to a machine? Of course, you should take the help of it to kind of fine tune it, make it a little better, or maybe you can ask to give couple of options with something in mind, but you cannot completely outsource some of the core of your business to a machine. A chat GPT or any advanced model may create your 6-month roadmap, but somebody has to own it. If it gives you a risk mitigation strategy and it doesn't go that well, you cannot hold the AI accountable. You cannot tell that AI that, hey, you predicted this, now it is not working, now I am not going to give you a high rating in appraisal. It doesn't work like that. You still need a human to execute it, to own it, to give the person his heart. As a leader, sometimes you might have felt that you get attached to the thing that you are building. You get emotionally involved with something you are building. It is not possible to sometimes work for 12, 13 hours without that. I'm being guilty of that. Those things you cannot, that emotion you cannot extract from a machine. So yes, that human touch or empathy is always be needed. We are already seeing news where companies fired employees because of AI, then again have to rehire them. So don't do that mistake. Have that little bit of human percent while taking any decision or while thinking of any program or any plan. Have that customer empathy, employee empathy. Don't stop being a human.
Yeah, so true. And perhaps that's the reason that when you put a prompt on a chat GPT, what you get as a disclaimer that the information can be wrong. So yeah, please review it. So see, even the chat GPT perhaps is telling us that we need that and the little bit of empathy and human touch there. Okay, now coming to Rubal.
Yeah.
So my question is that what personal shift, mindset shift, or in your personal or your professional on your work side that you would have seen with this AI landscape, which is ever changing now?
I think I would want to refer Mohan sir. He just mentioned about telegrams and
Yeah.
calling that way. So every time there's a change, which happens every 20 years, there is a fear, and I think that was prevailing even now. We were worried that I've been coming from a strategy and analytics background. I was wondering, do I make strategies anymore, or ChatGPT will do it for me? But thankfully, ChatGPT does not. It looks at what you tell them. It's like a child with the rules and regulations. You have to tell them what you want. You have to tell them how you want it. So the fear has gone. Um, I think I also want to refer one of the generation which I noticed was my father's generation when there was computerization happening. A lot of people suddenly left the jobs because they were so scared that computer might take away their job. Anyways, they will be laid off. So let's find some other business. Let's find some other work. The same instant is happening now. People are so worried. People are like, oh, should I start my own business? Should I start with dancing or maybe some other classes? I have seen so many friends of mine saying, hey, maybe I am good with creative activities. I will start that business, or maybe I'll start some other stuff. So yeah, that is TikTok. Okay. But that is one area where I feel that fear has to go away. Okay. And we do have a very volatile environment. So at this stage, in fact, it was always there. Now we have more talk about it. I call it VUCA. It's very volatile, ambiguous, complex, and uncertain environment. So we need to adapt to this continuous change, and the decision making has to go on continuously. As a part of startup, I cannot even tell you how many iterations we have done in our vision in last 2 years time. We were at point A and we were trying to do some agentic AI, and then we said, oh no, this might not work out. Then we went into something else. Then we went into a consulting mode. So it's a continuous iterative change that we have to adapt towards. So I want to summarize saying that we have to be tech illiterate and empath at the same time as a role or as a work. As a leader, we have to change that quite a bit. And I think I mentioned to someone else before that we need to have two languages, technical languages that we need to learn. One is AI capability. Second is human empathy. Thank you.
Yeah, so true, so true. And I really love the example that you gave. That is like a child with a certain discipline or the rule that we set, right? Okay, I think I am done with my questions. And if there is any question from the audience that anyone would like to have here with our panelists.
People when you can give them some other opportunity. But tell me how India as a country will deal with it, because most of our, IT is a larger chunk of economy, right? And then we are dependent on countries like United States and Europe. Larger part of the business comes from there as a part of outsourcing. So what will happen in a scenario when their companies, who are currently outsourcing it to us, stop doing that? Because they'll start using AI in a larger, I would say, their larger percentage will get into that. So how do you deal with that scenario? I mean, empathy is fine, we can do it here, but how do you deal with that scenario? And at any point of time, you may have to take that strong decision in terms of you'll have to reduce your manpower, right? So how do you see that?
There are multiple decision points where you need humans. There are multiple prompts where you need humans to kind of integrate it. So as you are rightly saying, people will replace, right? But you need to upgrade your skill set. You need to change and adapt to the AI systems. You need to now understand your technology better. At the same time, you have to be more data driven, and you have to be more, I would not call it strategic, but more understanding towards your business where you can contribute better. Now you may not be required at a certain place, but you can actually reskill yourself for a second job or a second position, which as a mentors and leaders, I think it's our job to figure out for them and help them figure out, are they technically sound? Can they take up a technical job? Or we need to train them for another data driven job where they can actually take decisions with the AI and kind of deliver value.
Yeah, so true. So to your point, right? It's really important that as a leader, we are not that selfish to just look for ourselves, but also look at the team and understand that what are the career aspirations, etc., that they might have. Okay. So for example, the other day I was listening to Indra Nooyi, and she said that she was very vocal in the feedback to her directs to say that, okay, you lack on these skills, and perhaps you need to learn these. So that's something that we need to provide as a feedback, right? That, see, your job roles lacked all of these at this point of time with respect to technology, and this is something that we need to inculcate. So, okay, moving on. Do we have it? Okay, you want to add something, please?
Rural parts of the country, like you go to any village, people will be using Facebook or Instagram, WhatsApp. Do you feel that AI will reach this rural India and would that benefit them?
Once you know how the weather is changing, if you are aware that there's going to be another tsunami, how can we relocate people? Look at the current events that are happening. You know, there are floods, there are multiple issues. If we use the AI better, if we use you know, uh, the technology better, we can actually guide the people. Instead of just firing people, we can create a force who can help them further. So I think in rural areas, there's a lot of scope.
Couple of years back, maybe nobody had thought that even a mobile or internet will reach to, tier 2, tier 3 villages, but they have. So yes, the disruption will be there. It will be faster than that.
I want to add one more example. Sorry for a lot of personal examples, but I remember my father used to say, "Aap logo ko kya pata?" When people write a letter to you, you know. And then I look back and actually wonder now, because he told my son, who's like Gen Z now, and I'm in the middle of both sides. I still understand that part of it when someone is writing a love letter with the emotions in it, and versus an email saying, "Hey, thank you very much. We'll meet at so and so time." You know, things have changed. Things are evolving. And even for that matter, if you talk to people who are in rural areas, I come from a small town in Punjab, they would say, "Ma'am, just send a Google Pay." They are so adopted about the changes. In fact, they are adopting much faster than us because they haven't seen the middle of it. So, so they are coming from A to Z directly. So they find it very amusing that, we can sell more now. We have a lot of advertisements coming in. We can sell on Amazon now. So there is a lot of opportunity for them as well.
Maybe I'll just add a different perspective there, right? So, I mean, I think, yeah, of course, your example was fantastic. But then I was just thinking that, when it comes to rural areas, definitely it's going to create disruption and there will be advantage and also disadvantage, because people have started using social media and AI. So, and now whatever, any news that spreads so fastly, widely, without knowing what's happening. So there should be some mechanism in order to train people or let them know like what is right and what is wrong. But it never going to happen with rural. It took ages for us who are in urban areas in order to understand what AI is and what is it that it is doing for us. So just imagine if it goes to rural, and most of the population in India is rural based. So I think it's going to go through a tough phase till they understand what is that it is impacting their life. So we need to wait and watch, I would say, for that.
I feel they might get disturbed by security issues a lot. They might get into a lot of scams and all those issues more because they are still using AI, by the way, every time. Yeah, they are very gullible. So because they will trust that, oh, there's a new app on which I can sell my products, they will do that. And I know a lot of people who've been doing it, and then they get scammed. In fact, a lot of people use it as scamming also. All the small town people also, they put up their Instagram account and say, hey, I'm selling this beautiful product from Etsy or some other places. And then when you pay them, nothing comes to you or something very bad will come to you. So some of them are very gullible. Some of them are very smart to how to kind of switch roles. So I think security is one area where we, at the same time, they have to be aware about how they can get into real trouble. At this stage, when they are scamming someone, they don't think it's a trouble, until unless police come to their door, and they would not know how come someone can know that I cheated someone else. But I think that's where the shift will happen. Yeah.
Videos to not to click on these links, not to get trapped, not to trust people easily. But there are some AI doctored video when some very I have seen one video where Narendra Modi is talking about an investment scheme. Hey, invest in this crypto scheme, you will get rich. I mean, imagine what could a village person. It will be very difficult for them to think that this could be a scam. So yes, that is where the responsibility of leaders, responsibility of government comes into picture. It's not easy, but it is going to be there.
The change is going to happen.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, everyone. I think we are up the time. So I would quickly wrap up what from the takeaways from the panelists is that AI is going to be there. Mostly it is going to be much better with each passing day, but definitely it's not going to replace the empathy or the human centric part of the leadership. So we are going to see a very evolved structure of leadership, the how the leaders operate, the ways of working, but towards the center of it, there could be many things around it, but the center is still stays at human centric. So thank you everyone. Thank you to the wonderful panelists. Thank you for bringing all this insight. And thank you to all of you for being such a lovely audience. Thank you.
Thank you.
Request Nitish to give gifts to the panelists. A keynote address by Vishnu Sharan on the topic Software at the Speed of Thought, Code, Creativity and Consciousness. Vishnu Sharan is the founder of VoiceCube, a bespoke AI transformation company that works with clients around the globe. VoiceCube was one of the first movers in voice AI space back in 2018 and has pioneered several conversation AI applications over the last 7 years.
And I would like to start this session with, I think certain ideology which is probably contrasting to everything that has been spoken so far. So firstly, to answer your question, sir, services industry is going to die. And I think empathy towards humans versus empathy towards bottom line. Unfortunately, our system is designed in such a way that we prioritize empathy towards bottom line more than humans. Yeah, but I think it's still an exciting time, and I'll explain why. So what a time to be alive, right? I mean, you look at all of these tools, you look at Grok, ChatGPT, Anthropic, Lovable, VO3, the kind of things that these tools are enabling us to create new products on a day-to-day basis. It's absolutely amazing and it's unbelievable. For example, I think Lovable is the fastest company to reach 100 million ARR in the history of mankind. And almost every single person who have developed a website for their own business or for their own hobbies, they know the hassle of going through different website builders like Wix.com or WordPress or building something of yourself, right? It takes a lot of time. It takes probably a week or 2 weeks, and it needs some technical expert to help it. But now with just one voice command, you have an entire website designed, developed, and deployed with Lovable. And I don't know how many of you have tried VO3, but it's amazing, right? I mean, let's say you want to go on a date with a very beautiful girl who's very similar looking to Meg Ryan. You can create that girl character and you can, make her talk about certain topics that you're interested in just a matter of minutes. Think about the impacts in filmmaking. Think about the cost reduction in filmmaking, right? I mean, a small kid who's just graduated, probably high school, but has good grip on English, can just create a full-length movie that's as beautiful as Rajmouli's movie, right? So the possibilities are endless, and I think this is the time which I feel very exciting to be alive. Now I'm going to share a few stories which would back my thesis that it's an absolutely exciting time. So there's a solo developer called Manoj who has created a very indie app. What that app does is it converts a blog article into an infographic which is very, very good to look at and very useful for his marketing. And he launched this tool in very niche subreddits. And he did the entire marketing by himself, and he generated $100,000. So there's an indie hacker who has generated $100,000 of income with an AI product that he developed by himself and marketed by himself. This was not possible even 2 years or 3 years ago, but now it's possible. And I'm not sure how do I show these videos, but I'll try. So there's a new product which is called Runway Aleph. I'm not sure you guys have seen it. So this guy shot his videos in Amsterdam, and then he used Runway Aleph to create the VFX. Again, this is just prompt to VFX. Think about the millions of dollars that is spent on VFX for movies. What's going to happen to all of that? And what's going to happen to all of those animators? Can we show them empathy? I don't think so. Because bottom line matters. And probably all of them would graduate into filmmakers because they know the subject expertise, so they might create more films themselves. To show you the product as well. So again, filmmaking, right? So this is what I'm talking about, Nitesh. For our podcast, we can shoot it at that corner and change the entire setting so easily. So things are moving very fast. And if we don't fast enough, I think we would become obsolete. And that I think that's the theme of my talk as well. Because ever since I was a kid, right? I mean, I grew up watching my father talk about Microsoft. I grew up watching my uncles talk about Infosys and how they, opted for architecture instead of software engineering and how they missed out a bus, right? So in 1970s, obviously, I was not born, but just hearing those stories makes me get an induced FOMO, even though it's absolutely impossible that I could be alive then, that I missed out that bus. And then obviously in 1995 to 2005, I was just born and I missed out the entire internet wave because Google, Infosys, Amazon, you look at all of these billion-dollar products and absolutely insane opportunities. It's like one of a lifetime kind of opportunities which were there between 1995 and 2005. And that added so many trillions of dollars to our economy. I think everybody would agree to that. Then 2005 to 15, that's the mobile app revolution, social networks. You have the Ubers and Facebook. Again, missed it because I was in school. And then I graduated in 2016, and then I thought the next evolution would be voice era, right? Because I've seen Alexa become the number one sold product in Amazon. So I started VoiceQ because I wanted to ride that wave for sure. Because and then we've got a lot of projects. We've delivered a lot of Alexa applications. But then the moment ChatGPT came out live, Alexa seemed like a 20th century technology. So that's the kind of exponential shift that even a basic LLM model or GPT-3 has brought into the technology landscape. So what I believe is right now, we have another chance, and that chance is now. And the reason I'm using an F1 car is because this train is fleeting very fast. So the model that we would take as a basis for our product 6 months back would be completely obsolete today. And it's going to be completely obsolete in 12 hours because, as you guys know, GPT-5 is launching tonight. And we don't know what it's going to bring, right? So I think this chance must be capitalized. And the race is already underway. I mean, we have at VoiceCube, we understood very quickly that services business is going to die. So there's a small monetization window of 2 to 3 years where we can work on the arbitrage that the clients don't know that it's so easy to generate so much software engineering such a short span of time. That's the only arbitrage. And we started going into a product play, just like how our friends are doing, and very good strategy. You have created a lot of products, and that's a good way to go ahead. We created a product called QKit.ai. What it does is, any application you develop, you install this SDK, it will instantly enable it with a multilingual voice agent. So let's say you have an app that you developed, and it has 30 to 40 different pages. A new user comes to the app. A lot of churn happens because he's not able to find where what is. So this multilingual voice agent, he can ask in Hindi, he can ask in Telugu, he can ask in Spanish, he can ask in English as well. How do I add KYC or how do I update my password? It will not only explain how to do that, but it will take him to that page. The voice navigation also works. And we were very excited about this product until yesterday evening. Because yesterday evening, even before I was not prepared to put this in my presentation, but yesterday evening, 11 Labs created React Native SDK, which is an absolute similar product to what we're building, right? So the world is moving very fast, and this is experienced by my very close friend, founders of Beethoven, which is a music generation company. And they raised like a couple of $1 million and they're doing fantastically well. They've got a lot of users and they're particularly popular for being the only music generation engine which has sourced all of its data ethically. And they face stiff competition from Suno, by the way. Suno has ripped off everyone's data and trained their models. Now they're facing a lot of lawsuits, but they had most number of users. Again, to my point, users or systems or businesses, they are not optimized for ethics. They are optimized for bottom line. But obviously, Suno is facing difficulties because, like all of us mentioned, ethical leaders have taken control and they are trying to make sure that proper training is being processed. So Beethoven still had the edge. But again, just last week, 11 Labs came up with a fully trained model on ethically sourced music data, and they are launching their own product. So you see, it's just the same product, right? And they're launching in two different verticals and they're rapidly engineering. This was not possible. I mean, the entire VC ecosystem is trained to such a way that, yeah, you back a company now and there is 5 to 7 years before $1 billion exit. But the timelines are shrinking faster than we can imagine. And this is another example for it. So Gabe Stein, he had a product which uses Slack API. So recently Slack has deactivated third-party API access. So his company is out of business. So what did he do? He created an entire Slack clone and made it open source. So right now, any of you who are using Slack can just with one click transfer all your data to this particular open source product, save all of that money immediately. So what is this is, it's a proof that technology is no longer a moat and software engineering is happening at the speed of thought. You imagine and it's being done. So there's a feedback for him just 14 hours back. This guy wrote, I love this, but it doesn't have hurdles. And we love hurdles. So he said, we couldn't agree more, stay tuned. And it's an open source project. So he's just doing it out of spite, right? And he's able to afford to do that because it's not going to cost much, not in terms of time or effort. And I'll take you a very basic example, personal example as well. Like we've had a client who has spent a lot of money, right? And we'll come to the metrics soon. But these were his screens for his app. And these are very legacy screens. As you can see, these are not that attractive. And it is supposed to be a voice-enabled app where the response also should be in a particular voice that is cloned. So there's a latency issue. There's a lot of technical complexity to it. So 2022 to 2023 mid, they spent a lot of money and they made this. But then we transformed this into, okay, the screens are not looking good on white and I think there's a contrast issue. But we transformed it into a modern looking app with absolutely flawless voice navigation, voice execution, and completely inbuilt with AI. And these are the metrics, right? So they spent around $800,000 for 15 months to create a poor voice clone and with high latency. And we converted that into a modern product with very low latency and high accuracy with just 3 months of software engineering, 3 months of software engineering, and we charged about a third of it. And if this is happening right now, and I see that this progression is just going to, you can extrapolate this, right? So in the future, this could probably be done in 3 weeks and probably in $9,000. So again, like I'm saying, services business, very difficult. So this brings me to the point that is AI dangerous? So if services business is gone, so is it going to create a lot of unemployment? Is it the natural course for mankind? Like Larry Page says that, okay, yes, if robots take over and we become extinct, that is natural evolution and we should let it happen, we should accept it. It's a very difficult, it's a very bitter pill to swallow, and I personally wouldn't want to agree with that. But that is one of the thought processes out there. My personal belief is that, yes, I think it's a yes for all of these hypotheses. That is, yes, unemployment will skyrocket. And we can't create parallels with our older revolution like industrial revolution, etc. And saying that if jobs are taken away in one industry, another industry comes away. No, that's an assumption. That's a very weak assumption that we are doing based on history. I don't think that is going to happen because the energy costs have not fallen down as rapidly as they will fall down right now. and the compute costs haven't fallen down as rapidly as they will fall down in the future. But at the same time, I'm optimistic because I think the entire foundation of our societal systems, right from education, right from college, right from workforce, everything is going to change. And I can see a lot more young, very 4-year-olds, making those $100,000 like the other example that I've mentioned by probably creating a movie, right? Because children have curiosity that absolutely puzzles every one of us, and they might be coming up with movies that all of us would enjoy more than real production houses. We never know. So I think yes, EAC, I'm not sure how many of you are familiar with this term, but right now, nobody is giving any care about AI safety. Everyone has adopted E acceleration to the power of infinity. And it's just a matter of fact that we need to accept, and we need to think how we have to navigate this entire ecosystem. So what does it mean for leaders like us? So I think the time is now, and I think we have to inculcate a culture of fear, a fear of missing out this once in a, I think this is a once in a millennia moment where we are seeing the evolution of intelligence, and we just have two options. We either adopt and become leaders like these guys who have used their particular era's, uh, you know, technology and became and created very great products for their respective companies and grew to those heights. And if we don't, we'll just become millions of other faceless leaders who have not been able to make a mark in history. And I will end this with a very good pitch for my soon to die services business is that if you as leaders want to create something brilliant in terms of software engineering and very fast, you can reach out to us. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Vishnu, for that reality check from very much on the ground, I feel. Yep. I would invite Nitesh to give a gift to Vishnu. And thanks a lot, Vishnu, for the reality check. Nitish, and the panelists are Rubashri Surna, Arjun Subramanian Mathur, and Padma Vakalanka. I would like to introduce all the panelists. Rubashri is a performance enhancement coach and leadership facilitator with overall 18 plus years of experience. She has a strong passion about developing people, blending sound business acumen with a developmental mindset. Arjun is a mechanical engineer with MBA in finance and an executive program in advanced strategic management from IMK. Arjun brings a strong blend of financial, commercial, and strategic expertise to the leadership role. Padma leads a global digital engineering at Bahuan Cybertech, uniting core engineering, quality, and integration practices. She's dedicated to leveraging AI to transform not only IT, but all organizational functions for greater collaboration and innovation. Over to you. I would like to invite Nitesh and panelists to the stage.
Thank you. Thanks. Good to see so many people still sticking around. And we wanted to save the best one according to us to the last so that we can give back some value. So far we were discussing about AI and IT, how it impacts IT industry. Most of us are from that. But we wanted to also touch upon how it is impacting other functions as well, beyond IT. And that's where we will be talking today. So let's start with Arjun, you first. How are non-IT functions like HR, finance, marketing, you are from finance, and operations leveraging AI to drive business value? So we are going beyond IT now, how other functions are also leveraging AI?
Definitely there is going to be a lot of impact, right? See, if you look at the past trend of outsourcing, how it has worked, the non-critical functions were outsourced in the beginning. And then critical functions also started getting outsourced because clients found value. Outsourcing companies gave value to the services what they offered. You could see like core functions like financial planning and analysis, which is like core of a company's finance, even that is getting outsourced now. So people are ready to outsource their core, their finance functions. That means that with the adoption of IT, with the adoption of AI, a lot of, you know, manual work in these FP&A activities that will get reduced. So all the analysts will move to a role of consulting, right? They will have data in front of them. They don't have to spend a lot of time in turning around data. You will have valuable insights, or you know, you will have a much more refined report with you where you can use that report to make some decisions. What will leaders do then? Finance leaders, they'll also shift right. They will become more of a business partners rather than being finance leaders, right? Because the consulting work is already done by the analyst or people under them. So they get more close to engage in the business related activities. So yes, this is one transition what I can find in finance.
Great. So two words I pick up: engage and partner. That is going to be key.
Yes.
Great. Let's move to Padma. And your question is, what impact is AI having on traditional decision making? I guess we were talking about the decision making part, and we started with that also. So how it is impacting the traditional business, traditional decision making over other business functions, not just in IT?
Yes, yes, very, very valid and no situational question, Nitesh. And our colleague has already answered in the previous panel, right? So she was rightly mentioning that, see, now it is not centralized decision making, right? It is distributed, right? It's not top down decision making, but we need to have the data. Data will power the decisions, not just solve the leadership, right? It is the combination of AI, combination of human, and combination of whole organization data points, right? So you need to rely on the data, you need to rely on your team, you need to rely on your leadership and your thought process, right? So again, when people are talking about prompting, when your people are talking about co-pilot, when people are talking about all this together, right? AI-powered tools, right? And Vishnu was also saying, no, let us be practical. That no, this today is the world where we have to take off, and we cannot slow down. So how can we take off, right? How can we take off by getting the advantage of AI, right? AI is learning. AI is learning from thousands of internet systems there. Even you sit for 1 year continuously reading, you can't compete with that, right? It's learning 1000x in 1 minute, right? It's learning and it is giving that learning to you, right? To make the decisions effective. And empathy is always there because it's sometimes biased. So AI can also be biased in decisions. For example, if I ask something to my chat GPT on some data with example, right? Most of the times it narrates a story to me saying he, right? Sometimes he misses, ChatGPT misses that there is also an objective of she there, right? Because some data is missing out. Because it's relying on a data where there are maximum examples out there, and it's also missing some examples on other side. So there is always a bias factor, which a human should actually have the governance. So the leader here in this era should not only have the thought process, should not only have that vision, should not only have the AI powered tools, but should also design his platforms with AI power, right? They should also make the governance, they should also make the right tools, they should also make the data, they should also make sure that it's not biased, right? That is where I feel the empathy should bring in. The empathy is not just emotional thing. The empathy is towards data, right? You feed the right data, so it gives the right decisions, right? So, back to your question, Nitesh. I think now the decision is empowered with data, and it will be more accurate, right? Because data is shown, and you also validate it with your thought leadership, and you also validate with your responsible AI thought, right? You make sure everything is covered, and you don't, in the organization, like our colleague said, finance, I think for one decision, we need to collaborate across the business units, across the platforms. So when you do this, the context of what you're bringing within your organization, I think you should leverage that. A cross-functional thinking. I think finance should not only depend on the finance systems data, but it should also depend upon the HR systems, it should also depend upon the practice, it should also depend upon the overall data points where you bring in one unified platform with all the unified data, right? To give you that point where a human cannot think, right? Just one person cannot sit on the table and do the decisions thinking across the business units, right? You need to have the data for you. You need to have the cross collaboration for you. I think today the leadership is more empowered than any time in the past, right? Today we are able to go much faster, even overnight things are getting disrupted, all because of this empowerment, right? I think, yeah, I think we can do 1000x with all this, and leaders can actually do much more than what they did before, right? And they can also bring the human ingenuity that is always there, right? Whether a robot cannot coach the team, right? You need to tell the storytelling to your team, because storytelling is part of key leadership, right? You need to inspire your team, you need to motivate your team. A robot cannot do that, right? So I think today's leadership is more relevant than any time in the past. So yeah, I want to conclude
I guess
with
you are
this.
creating more a job for leaders now, is storytelling and
Yes.
also partnering with the other units, not just working in isolation. So that's a valid point. In fact, I remember Narendra Modi's example when he talked about bias, that it always shows right hand writing, not left hand. So yes, definitely it is biased, and we need to break that. So over to you, Roop, that you are into leadership coaching, and then you see a lot of mindset change that leaders have. Now, as a human, it is always we resist changes, and now there's a huge change. We just heard that it's a once in a millennia kind of opportunity. So, if we are seeing such a huge change or transformation around us, how do you also make sure that there's a mindset change for the leaders?
Absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much for asking this question. And this is something that I encounter each single day when I interact with the leaders. And I also believe that we as humans are wired to resist change, especially when it is fast, abstract, and when it is imposed on us, right? And this has been there when cloud computing came in, when this hybrid workforce came into existence. We all resisted it. But what is it? And I just happened to read another McKinsey report recently in 2024, which also says that 60% of the leaders resist change. And I'm talking about AI. They resist this because of the uncertainty that it brings in. And it's also because of the lack of trust. So since you're asking me about the shift in the mindset, and it's actually that, cultural runway that will really help us adopt and adapt to the changes, I would say the shifts that one needs. See, mindset is not a technical aspect. It's more of neurological, right? And it would take quite a bit of a time for us to bring these mindset shifts. One of the mindset shift, since I work in the space of psychological safety, that's the core space that I focus on. And I heard one of my friends really talk about it, and I had my antennas on when I heard her speak about psychological safety. And I feel this is one major mindset shift that we as leaders need to bring in. Create a space for experimentation. Create a space where failures are okay. Yeah, create a space where people can create a space of inclusivity and belongingness. I think once we start bringing in these small little shifts in our day-to-day conversations, into the day-to-day being, I feel that it'll create a ripple effect. Yeah. So mindset is a continuous thing. It's not that I have made you feel belonged today in one of the conversations, and it's all the usual from the next week onwards. It's a continuous, and it's what's very important for us as leaders is also to become very intentional. So we all need to be very intentional into bringing safe spaces. Or rather, my punchline that I often bring in into my leadership conversations is it's not just about bringing in safe spaces, it's about making it brave places. So moving from safe space to a brave place. So if we can bring this in, I'm sure, technology is not something that's going to stop us from evolving. Yeah.
Great. And this is one aspect which we cannot drag from humans. It is very much human, and it will continue to be human. Great. So, question to you, Arjun, that can you talk about some promising AI use cases that is being implemented right now, not in IT, but legal, HR, supply chain, some other domains that you see that very promising and it is being used right now?
See, there will be a lot of use cases. There are a lot of use cases also. Uh, One thing what I can think of is reviewing the contract document, right? Contract document will have some 50 to 100 pages. You need a lawyer to review that. You don't need a lawyer anymore. AI can do it in a fraction of a second, right? And AI will list you, these are the non-standard ones, these are the riskier element. This is not with respect to corporates, even like individuals, right? You are getting into a housing rental agreement. You can use that. Like, there are multiple use cases. Even like in finance side of things, of course, we can find use cases where, data is analyzed and you get meaningful report out of that, which can be referred. In HR functionalities, say screening of candidate resumes, AI does that very easily. You don't need some human to sit there, review the resumes and all, right? So use cases will keep on increasing. There will be more in future also. Yeah, I wanted to add something on the mindset question which you were discussing earlier, right? See, we are all leaders. I hope that everyone who is sitting in this room, they have some other associated team in their office, correct? So you will be representing them, you're leading them. So as a leader, I feel that we should take certain initiatives, okay? Not everyone has got this bus. That is a reality. There are a lot of people we know in the organization or outside the organization who really hasn't known the impact what AI can create. Okay, so as leaders, we need to get them up to speed. We need to tell them that, hey, buddy, you don't miss this out, right? Maybe you can create FOMO also within them. Okay, and that's one way. You know, maybe after few years, you have two resources. One resource is very efficient because he knows AI. Other resource, he has the same IQ, he is very hardworking, but because he doesn't know AI, he is not as productive as the first resource. Right? Gradually, from a company perspective or a business perspective, I want the second person rather than the first person. Let's not create those first person. Let's try to, train people or try to teach people on where you should be catching up at, right? And make them start adopting AI in very very small things they do. Okay, just like emails or Copilot and everything. Start with that. Get into the pace. Technology will keep evolving. Like how Vishnu said, we don't know what's expected in ChatGPT 5 today. I read an article today morning. Altman saying that it has created wonders. He himself is not able to figure out what's really happening. So the day is not far where machines will be more smarter than men, right? We need to catch up.
Great, great. Yeah.
To what he mentioned, so this is another statement that I often say, and not just to the leaders, to even the Gen Zs when I interact. The reason I interact a lot with the Gen Zs is also to understand their mindset, because that really helps the leaders to lead the teams more effectively. So when we talk to these Gen Zs, we always keep saying that it's not AI is not going to replace you; it's going to release you. So this is a statement that I often come across saying that it's going to release you from all the heavy lifting that you need to do. It's going to make life easier for you. So it's about changing the narrative to what you're saying. The moment you position it in a way that it's not it's not something that's going to disrupt your roles. It's going to enable your goals. I think that will shift their mindset from resistance to curiosity or ownership.
So on the related subject, like you see that a lot of things are changing and we are also adopting to that. So if let's say we just go 3 months or 6 months down the line, we don't know what will happen. So suppose AI is enabled, like embedded in all functions of our organizations. What are the new competencies that we need to have as leaders? So what would be those competencies that we need to have?
Right, right. Very, very contextual question, Nitesh. So yeah, as we're all, first thing I think, as both of my colleagues are saying, I think this is a time where we are in a very safe space and we are all in a brave space too, right? And we are all empowered with the same AI. We're all in the same boat. We are all disrupted with the same technology, I think across the world, across the nations, right? So I think more than worrying, we should also feel happy that we are empowered more. And like Nitesh saying, there will be more roles coming up, right? Nowadays, I think from last 1-2 years, we are hearing responsible AI, ethical AI, empathy, emotion, all these things more than even before, right? So we have CDO. I think there was no CDO role before. When the digital transformation kicked off, there was new role CDO other than CTO, right? And now we have another role in the leadership space where they call it CAIO, means Chief what agentic or no artificial intelligence officer, right? So all these years we only have this product owners who will actually focus on their product, focus on their client story. But I think now new roles should catch up, saying that there should be a dedicated product owner who actually runs the AI models of the company, right? Somebody should own the job of that as well, right? Somebody should take the governance of the model evolving for that company, whether it is evolving as per their client story, right? Somebody should govern that as well across the units, across the projects. And all these days we're talking about UI, UX designer, but now we have to say AI human designer because AI will know how better we actually need to design the UX, UI, right? So we have, I think every role will cut across AI, right? Every role has a parallel role happening with AI. So I think we will have so many roles, multiple roles created across. See, we are not talking about just leadership, right? We're also talking about the Scrum teams, the project manager level, product owner level, Scrum master level. I think there are parallel roles that are required, right? One thing is you're tracking the project. You're also parallelly tracking the AI evolution, whether this is matching to what you are developing to the clients, right? So there was one very interesting thing I've heard from Nandan saying, right? He was saying, see, hey, look, whole India, like whole world, saying when we have this deep seek, no, China is evolved, and everybody questioning to India, right? What are you guys doing? And Indians started questioning ourselves, right? What are we doing? Nothing has come up. There is no model from us, right? We started questioning because everybody started questioning us, right? We didn't lose that typical mindset. But Nandan, I think visionary, right, who created UPI when nobody even thought about it. Not even Satya Nadella, not even Sundar Pichai, right? It was Nandan's vision for the whole world, and the whole world is still catching up. It's not there yet. The way the UPI scaled up, I think nobody could even imagine. So he, a visionary of India, right? I think visionary of the world as well. So he was mentioning, guys, let us not question ourselves, right? Let us not think what everybody else is thinking. Maybe DeepSeek is great, maybe ChatGPT is great, maybe OpenAI is great, but we are not in that race. He took a step back, right? He did see that into a different perspective, which we were not able to see, right? At this age, right? He started his journey, I guess, 70 years back. And even today, his thinking is much beyond than what we think, right? So he was rightly mentioning, guys, take step back, right? Now we are not in a race of coming up with a model because everybody did that. Now we should be in a race who will utilize these models in a fastest way, disruptive way, and make things possible which were not possible before to India, right? So he was saying, I think let them create it. Maybe we can use it. And when we use it, people should look back to us and say, nobody used the way Indians used, right? So that kind of thinking will actually get us new roles. And as one of our panelists and all the speakers were mentioning, India has the youth, right? When I was working with so many European clients, they don't have youth, they don't have skills, they don't have people, right? They need India. Now, whole world needs India. But what are we Indians doing? We are always in the race. Oh, okay, everybody is doing that, let us do this. But we're forgetting the other space, right? Where we actually do what others are not able to do, right? Others are not able to find out, which is our strength, right? I think we should really take great example from China, right? How it's slowly becoming a superpower, right? It's running manufacturing industries like nobody came and compete them. Maybe there are so many spaces where India can conquer and others are not even looking at that, right? So I think not only in IT, Nitesh, I feel there are so many roles that will be created in different markets outside IT. And as people from different backgrounds have come to IT, we never know. People of IT will get into so many other industries, right?
In fact, the next question was related to this, that we see a lot of transformation happening in IT.
Yeah.
But beyond IT, how these roles are transforming, probably to Roop, that how these roles are evolving beyond IT, beyond tech skills. What is the next wave that we see?
I'll answer this question with respect to the space that I work in the space that I interact with a lot of leaders across industries. And I get them into a coaching conversation. I'm a coach, I'm a facilitator, right? And when you talk about how AI is helping other industries, or how is it? Did I connect with the question well?
Yes. So beyond IT, yes, you're right.
Beyond IT. Yeah, beyond IT. Maybe I'll talk about the coaching space, how it is evolving, how it is really helping us, and how it's making us become a little more productive to what we were, and focusing on the areas where we are meant to focus, right? So I was just having a conversation with a coachee some time back, and the conversation was on this space. So this coachee was with me on a 6 months journey. We generally have these journey interventions. After 3 months, and this is a story 1.5 years back, after 3 months, he said that, Roop, along with the coaching conversations, I've started also using ChatGPT for the responses that I want from a coach. Yeah. And for that, it went on in a couple of coaching conversations. And one fine day, I receive a message from him saying that, Roop, I would want to discontinue this association of ours. And I sensed it. Where is it coming from? I sensed it that maybe he's getting some responses. But the interesting fact is, he came to me just 25 days later saying that, Roop, it was just one message. I'm really sorry. I want to get back to our conversations. Right. So what I'm saying is, yes, again, bringing back to the aspect of empathy, bringing back to the aspect of connectedness, bringing back to the aspect of safe spaces, I would say it's penetrating into different industries, different roles. Having said all of that, the human connection still remains. So coaching space is widely being, we as facilitators and coaches are using AI to, in our pre and post interventions. It really helps us to, build creative ways of engaging with our coaches or with our leaders. It is certainly enabling us. So it's penetrating into all the different arenas, I would say. Having said that, it's just important for us to strike a balance. It's important for us to, as I also say that one of the roles that the leaders have to now start playing is shift from decision makers to, sense makers. When is it that you have to, how do you, what do you say, when is it that you have to use the output that you receive from the AI? How to validate that? And when is it that you have to override with the human judgment? So you need to be that sense maker, irrespective of whichever industry it's penetrating. It's so important for us to interpret the information well and sense that information more effectively.
Great. So what I'm hearing now is that we need to think beyond IT, and we know that it is going to impact everything that we do, and also the human will still be the core of whatever we are doing. So before we end this, I would like to have one or two questions from the audience, if you have anything for them, which is, yes, Divya.
Boardroom and people who take strategic calls, the footprint of the decision that they take is much higher because they can impact the organization and the consumers, clients, customers as well. Now, when we're using AI, the one thing I've noticed is the more you start using, at least I've started using ChatGPT, I sort of just start deferring and assuming everything that ChatGPT is saying is true. And let's say it could be something as simple as drop me an email for so-and-so proposal versus what do you make out of this data. So in some sense, I have, and this is a pattern I've seen with my colleagues as well, we have started offboarding the decision making, the sensible decision making to ChatGPT just because we want to save time. I have 100 decisions to be taken. Now, how do you sort of balance that out? Because you want to save time, so you give the data, it gives you a certain output, you just read that and say, okay, this is a decision, but being in the boardroom, being a CXO, your decision can impact those 500 employees that you're leading. So So how do you sort of be cognizant that yes, I can use this to make my life better, but not completely overload it?
See, you need to be very mindful when you take decisions, right? You can apply the 80-20 rule, all right? All those activities which really doesn't need your attention much as a leader, you can try ChatGPT, you can take its inputs, and you rather focus on those next 20% of the most critical task which can create impact as a leader, right? See, uh, on a common man's language, think that you are a king, Raja, sitting, and this is your darbar. You have some 20 different ministers. When you have a problem, king will ask the ministers, hey, what's the solution to this, right? Assume that ChatGPT is that one person who is giving you 20 different options. ChatGPT will give you only options. It's your wisdom, your brain, your experience that you need to select, okay, is this the right decision to take or the other one?
So, I mean, it's just like a pattern that we're. So, there is also this study that's done saying that humans are losing their cognitive abilities, the ability to think, be creative, because we are relying too much on LLMs recently. So,
yeah. Swiggy, Zomato came in picture, right? Delivering food became very easy. You have two options. Either you sit at home, don't move, eat, put on weight. Second option is that you still want that service. Order food, eat, but find your time to go for walk, workout, right? Apply the same thing even there also. Use AI as your extended brain, not as your brain. That's the right usage. I read this thing over internet probably. So use it as in your extended brain. Like don't completely depend on that. Use the information. Find out the risk, right? For example, if there is something where you want to invest, right? Find out the risk elements associated. Probably AI can give you much more risk elements what you wouldn't have thought of. Use that. Then take a decision. So it was presented in this previous presentation. The right or a wise leader is the one who collaborate with AI, right? Not depend on AI.
One thing to add, you're right, right? See, many people think that whatever LLM gives is something which copies or something or gets the information. But I also feel that the way you prompt, right? Because now prompt engineering is getting the focus, right? Even they're paid very high. Not just because they're typing something, but they're typing very useful and right question, right? Now you have the same LLM you're using, I'm using, all of us are using, but the outcome what you are getting is so different. It is the same LLM model, it's the same internet, right? Why it is different is your thought process is different, right? Once you prompt it, tune it, better it, then as he said, right, 80-20 rule, or if you're expert in that area, right, Divya, so you prompt it better, right, than the other person, right? And you will be much more, you will be getting much more better response from the prompt because you know the thought process behind it. You know how to tweak your prompt. You know how to get the information right. And if you see that is not really going with your thought process, you make it better, you make the prompt better, and you get the best out of it, right? So that is how I feel that, see, ChatGPT or LLM is not for the people who don't know the subject, right? I think we should know the subject, we should be experts in that subject, or you also need to talk to people who are experts, and then I think you rely on this prompt. I think that would complete your, I don't know if it makes sense, but I experienced this myself.
So developing a questioning mindset is so very important, as leaders.
I was thinking, should I become a prompt engineer? That is better, right? At some point, they're paid huge. And in certain domains, especially, you don't get them actually.
Thanks everyone. And I guess we are running out of time, so we'll wind up. And then we have interesting news that ChatGPT 5 is being launched. What's new? Maybe whatever we discussed so far, something may change overnight, but we'll see. This space is evolving, and good to have some perspectives from different domains beyond IT. I'm sure it was a wonderful discussion. You all like it. And with that, we end it here, and I'll hand it over back to Mary.
Full panel discussion. I got lost in a lot of things today. Yep, I would like to invite Nitesh to distribute the gifts. have come to end of the sessions today. I would like to say a sincere thanks to the partners and a sincere thanks to the speakers, panelists, sponsors, delegates for making Leadership Reimagined AI Summit 2025 a memorable event. I hope you all enjoyed. I could see all the faces very immersed in all the discussions. Thank you for those thoughtful words and for your unwavering commitment to advancing AI for good. A special thanks to our organizing team and volunteers for their hard work, and they have been the backbone of this summit. I would like to call upon names of the volunteers and Nitish also to provide gifts. And I would like to call Nitish, and I would like to call Anshika to provide gift to Nitish.
I would also like to call upon Mary for thankfully hosting us all and giving us a good time.
Hope we continue this journey to exchange ideas, make new connections, and continue the conversation even after the summit. Thank you once again for being with us here today. We wish you a safe journey home and look forward to seeing you at future summits. Until then, keep dreaming, keep innovating, and keep leading the way in AI. Thank you, everyone.